Wyatt Earp, brave, courageous, and bold. Long live his fame, and long live his glory, and long may his story be told.
In the year 1875, bank robbery was the most profitable of crimes, and it attracted the elite among Western criminals. They ranked themselves with Quantrell, the James boys, and the Youngers. A few of them were just as shrewd and deadly as Cole Younger or Jesse James.
Bonnie says the leg don't feel so good. Want me to ride into Wichita and get you a doctor?
No, sit down.
All right.
I'm not trailing with you any longer. Bonnie and I are going into Wichita alone.
Okay, Clem, if that's the way you want it. But aren't you taking a big risk?
That any concern of yours?
Yes, it is, in a way.
What way?
You're the last of the Parkers, Clem. I was hoping that after your leg got well, that you'd let me and the boys throw in with you. With you to do the brain work, we could take a bank every week. And those banks in Kansas haven't had a real rousting since...
You're a fool. I wouldn't have you or any one of your mob on a bank job.
Now, look here, Clem.
Shut up. Bonnie, give him a couple of $100 for services rendered.
That's too much, Clem.
Do as I tell you. I don't want to see you or any one of your mob in Wichita. Head south and go back to robbing stages. I'm cleaning this stake. You're not. Now ride out of here and keep riding.
All right, Clem. If you say so.
Give him the money, Bonnie. That's the end of it. Goodbye.
Yes, sir.
Oh, there you are.
Pete said you wanted to see me in a hurry.
You call a half hour in a hurry? You coming down with cholera morgus? You're just getting conceited and lazy.
20 minutes is not a half hour.
Huh?
Anyway, what's the big rush?
You see the picture in the Kansas City Star?
Clem Parker.
That's right, he's a patient of mine. He was brought to me by his lady friend. Mr. and Mrs. Tom Whiting, they call themselves now, dressed up like city folks.
Clem Parker here in town?
I never let on that I recognized him. He had a right pretty woman with him, though. Her flesh was well and neatly laid on her bones, and...
All right, all right. Now, why would Parker come here to see you?
Gunshot wound his left leg. The silly jackass who pulled the bullet out and missed all the bone splinters.
I wonder what he wanted in Wichita.
Huh? He's a bank robber. And we got 2 banks. I'd better go and draw my money out.
Will you wait a minute?
Huh?
Where'd he say he was staying?
Wichita Hotel. And I gave him strict orders to go to bed and stay there.
Thanks, Doc. You might have done me a real favor.
What? Favor? Wyatt Earp, I want every penny of that reward.
Well, there's no reward. Parker isn't wanted in this state. Your reward is the tender feeling of the good doctor, the sublime knowledge that you can heal a suffering fellow man.
Oh.
You're not fooling anybody, Doc. The only scalp money you ever took was a fee for curing dandruff.
Dandruff?
That's right. Parker. Using the name of Whiting now, huh?
Yes, but you better be careful, son. He might have a gang just outside of town.
Yeah, that's my hunch, too. Thanks, Doc.
Excuse me, sir. Are you Marshal Wyatt Earp?
That's right, ma'am.
I'm Mrs. Whiting, Mrs. Tom Whiting.
Doc Fabrique described you pretty well.
Oh, he told you about my husband's accident?
Well, it's just routine, ma'am. He asked to report on all gunshot wounds.
I see.
I hate to disturb your husband, but I Kind of got to ask him a couple of questions.
Well, he's asleep right now. Couldn't I answer the questions?
Well, I'm afraid not, ma'am. Well, it's nothing that important. I'll just drop back a little later.
Oh, no, you shouldn't have to make 2 trips. I'll go up with you if that's all right.
Certainly.
It's me, dear. Are you awake? Tom.
Yeah, I'm awake.
Marshal Earp is with me. He just wants to ask you a few questions, Tom.
Okay. Hiya, Marshal.
I'm just fine, Mr. Parker.
Clem!
You're mighty fast with that, mister.
Sit down, Mrs. Parker. I'd like to talk to both of you, and I'd like to make it real friendly.
Friendly?
Well, you're not wanted in this town, Mr. Parker. Dr. Brigg tells me you need a rest.
You mean you won't bother us?
There's just one question. Any of your crowd hanging around Wichita?
No.
That's the truth, Mr. Earp.
All right. You stay here as long as you need to. I hope your leg doesn't give you too much trouble. Let's get a good doctor.
Wait a minute. You're a new kind of John Law. Or didn't you know I was wanted in Missouri?
Well, I'll tell you, Mr. Parker, this is Wichita, Kansas, and I got just about all the trouble I can handle right here.
There's reward money.
Well, just to make you rest easy, I'm not interested in the scalp money. If the sheriff of Missouri or the United States Marshal shows up with a warrant, I have to help him make the arrest, but otherwise, rest easy.
That's mighty decent of you, Mr. Earp.
Not at all. You play things square with me, and we'll get along fine.
Mr. Earp! Mr. Earp!
Yeah?
I'm from the Union Bank. Mr. Kenton sent me over. There's a suspicious character hanging around.
I'll be right over.
Yes, Mr. Earp.
Excuse me.
Top Anders?
There's only one sure way to find out.
I'll go right over there. Ooh, that slimy doormat thief. Just when we had things fixed real decent with Mr. Earp. Now he thinks we lied to him. I better take a gun.
No. Just make sure it's tarp.
I can get him drawn from a handbag.
Now, don't lose your temper. There's easier ways to skin that cat.
Well, you better keep this bandage wet. I'll be right back.
You a stranger in town?
Yeah. Any crime in that?
Oh, might be. Bank doesn't like strangers hanging around.
Okay, Marshal, I'm moving.
Wait a minute. What's your name?
John Smith.
You got anything on you to prove it?
No. Don't believe I have.
You look a little bit like Top Anders. You ever know him?
No. No. Don't believe I have. You?
No. I saw his picture once on a wanted poster. Where's your horse, mister?
Over there. You want to meet him, too?
Yeah.
Buckshot dusted, huh?
Take off the saddle roll, Mr. Smith.
Take it off yourself.
I told you to take off the saddle roll. Now put it on the ground and open it up. Give me that. The map of Wichita. That don't prove anything.
What do you need a map like that for? You afraid you get lost?
Yeah.
Well, you haven't done anything I can hold you for, Mr. Smith. You seen Clem Parker lately?
Clem? I don't know any Clem Parker. I know a Clint Barker.
You surprised me.
Why?
I didn't think Parker'd let a stupid fool like you case a bank. Tell you what I'm going to do, Mr. Smith. I'm going to give a description of you to all my deputies. Next time you're seen around town, you're going to get hurt. And by next time, I mean any time after 5 minutes from now.
I was hoping Earp would take him from seeing him on the poster, but he didn't. The marshal just ordered him out of town. I think we ought to turn Anders and his crowd in.
Show Earp their camp?
Sure.
No, that's going too easy on Tarp. I ordered him to stay out of Wichita, remember? Now I think we'll encourage Tarp to go against that bank.
Then tell Earp?
He'll blast him into little pieces.
Yes, but will the marshal believe us?
He'll be a fool if he doesn't. When Tarp hits a bank, he shoots at everybody in sight.
But what if Earp won't believe us? He's been decent to us, Clem. I don't want him hurt.
Who you for, Earp or me?
Oh, don't talk foolish,
Well, I ain't able
Clem.
to stand on 2 good feet and give Tarp what's coming to him. Earp and his deputies can do it for me. You make Earp believe us. That's your job.
All right, Clem.
But if he doesn't and gets himself killed, who's to blame? Either way, Tarp Anders will ride into a lot of bullets from somebody. This is my last job, Bunny.
What?
Yep. My last job. When I get well, we'll get married and settle down. But we can't have Tarp cashing in on my name, calling himself in those cheap hoodlums of Parker's. Now you see why Earp has to wind him up for us, don't you?
My deputy said you wanted to see me.
Out here, please. Not inside. I don't like jails.
All right. Hold that. What's on your mind?
I followed you. Saw that man in front of the Union Bank.
Oh? I don't suppose you could recognize him.
Yes, he's Tarp Anders. He tags along after Clem. We thought we got rid of him, Mr. Earp.
You're not friendly with him now, huh?
Never were. He's a cheap stagecoach bandit. Every time Tarp's gone against a bank, he's made a bloody mess of things. You don't believe me, do you?
It isn't too logical, Mrs. Parker.
I told Clem you wouldn't. But you must try to believe me. Tarp's gonna rob one of your banks. Maybe tomorrow.
Which one, the Union or the Kansas State? We only got 2.
I don't know, but I'll find out.
And then you'll tell me?
I'll try. I'll let you know tonight sometime.
Mrs. Parker, why would you tell me?
Because Clem's quitting the business. We're going to California as soon as he's well enough. Please try and think of it our way. We'll never have a chance to make a decent life for ourselves with Tarp Anders robbing banks and calling his crowd the Parker gang. Well, isn't that logical? What would we have to gain by lying to you?
Mrs. Parker, I don't know.
I'm not Mrs. Parker. Not yet. My name's Bonnie Dawson. Now, isn't that proof I'm being honest with you?
Well, maybe you are. But it just so happens that I'm Marshal of Wichita.
Yes, and we've been bank robbers.
Well, let's leave it this way. You find out what you can about Mr. Anders and meet me at Doc Fabric's office tonight.
Around 10 o'clock?
That'd be fine.
You still don't believe me, do you? But you better make up your mind to. Because not believing me could cost you a few lives. Maybe your own.
this chin music is just a lot of gab, Tarp. You know, the truth is you're scared to take that bank. You're afraid of Wyatt Earp.
That ain't the hitch, Dan.
Well, what is the hitch, then?
It's Clem and Bonnie Parker.
Oh, Clem's laid up with a bad leg. And what can Bonnie do?
She can handle a gun. And so can Clem if he takes a notion to spoil the party. What do you boys think? You think it's smart?
Yeah, let's get...
I'm not gonna hurt you. And Clem's back in Wichita. We changed our minds, Tarp. We want in on the bank job.
What bank job?
Don't play dummy with me. You were in town this morning. You cased the Union Bank. Clem was real sore when he heard about it. Then we got to thinking. You come into town by yourselves and you'll get hurt. Use Clem's plan and you'll get rich. How about it, Tarp?
Clem knows how to really take a bank. I say we deal.
Okay, Bonnie. If you've got something to offer, you're in.
Clem drew a diagram. Wrote it all down.
Oh. There's the Kansas Bank. Union Bank.
And that's the setup. Almost the same plan the Parkers used to take the bank at Mexico, Missouri. It's what Clem calls the covey of quail idea. You drift into town one by one just before daylight. Then you bunch up at 9 o'clock when the bank opens. You grab the money and then scatter in these 6 different directions. Understand?
Yeah, but why do we hit the Union Bank?
Because Earp knows you cased it. He figures you'll take the other bank, the Kansas State.
She's right, Tarp. No John Law would expect us to go against the Union Bank.
He'll be watching the other bank.
Yeah, outsmarting himself. Okay, Bonnie. We'll hit the Union Bank at 5 after 9 in the morning.
I'll meet you here about noon for our share of the haul. Now study that. Any bank job plan that Clem Parker draws is worth $5,000 cash before the vault doors are open.
So, Earp will be watching the Kansas State. Clear around the corner from our mark. Are you still as good with a rifle as you brag?
Well, money says I can outshoot any of you.
And I'll make just one change in Clem's plans. We'll put a crack shot right on the roof of this building here. He'll take care of Wyatt Earp before we hit the Union Bank. You think you can do that?
I reckon so, Tarp. You want me to wing him, or...
Aim here.
Well, the logic is against her. I mean, logically speaking, she and Clem are the brains behind the whole thing, and I'd just be an idiot to trust her, wouldn't I?
Wouldn't you what?
That Bonnie woman can't be telling us the truth.
She might. Then again, she mightn't. If you want my advice, I'd do what the cross-eyed tomcat did.
What's that?
Watch both rat holes. Divide your men between the Kansas State and the Union.
Well, that must be her now.
Am I very late?
No.
Hello, Dr. Fabric.
Howdy.
Please sit down.
No, thanks. I went over the whole plan with Tarp Anders. He's going to hit the Union Bank at 5 after 9 in the morning.
The Union? Why would he do that? He knows that I know he cased the Union Bank.
So he figures you think it'll be the Kansas State.
Well,
I had a tough ride to get this information. If you don't believe me, just say so.
Look, I'm sorry.
I've done all I can for you, Mr. Earp. You're stupid. Go ahead, let Tarp make a fool of you. Good night.
Hold on. Put this on your husband's leg. Keep the bandage moist with it.
All right, Doc. Thanks.
You ain't stupid, but you're sure stubborn.
Oh?
I think she's telling the truth.
Well, she can't be, Doc. I checked both banks this morning, and the Kansas State Bank has got twice as much cash on hand as the Union Bank. Almost 30,000. Clem Parker isn't going to go for 15 when he can try for 30.
You can watch both rat holes, can't you?
No, I can't. Only got 6 deputies, and if I divide them, it'll give Anders too much of an edge. You just worry about doctrine and let me handle the bank robbers. It's going to be the Kansas State Bank.
Clem, are you all right?
Oh, funny. Certainly took long enough.
How does your leg feel, honey?
Hurts a little. Doc Fabrique came by. Scraped a bone or something. Gave me some laudanum. How'd you make out?
Fine with Tarp. He's going to take the union. Earp won't believe me. He'll be watching the other bank.
That won't do any good, Bonnie. Anders will make a clean getaway.
Well, what can we do about it? I thought I liked Earp. He thinks I'm a no-good and a liar. I don't care what happens to him.
I do.
Why?
Doc Fabrique. He and Earp are close pals. I owe Doc plenty. He says he's going to pull me through this.
Clem, there was never any doubt.
Yeah. I needed a surgeon to clean the bone and get the medicine down to where it'd work. Otherwise... Here, take this paper and pencil and draw me a layout of those two banks. Maybe we can save that idiot in spite of himself.
Take the corner, Jack. Mike! Mike, there might be a little trouble here at the Kansas State Bank, so stay indoors. And if you got any customers, tell them to do the same. Pass the word, will you? Now remember, Mr. Gale, let them have all the money. Don't try and stop them. We'll get them as they come out. Is your safe open?
Yes, but don't you think I'd better close it? Maybe they'll be satisfied with the teller's money.
No, they'll just make you open it. Let's work it the way we planned it, huh?
Well, all right.
Everything's working out fine. Earp's around the corner.
Why don't we get at it?
Not until Jonesy gets Earp. Almost time now. Come on.
Look out, Earp! Stop being a fool. Get around the corner. They're taking the Union Bank.
It's too late to worry about him. Return the money, Jack. Mrs. Parker? Don't you want to take that gun of yours and beat some sense into my fool head?
No, Mr. Earp. I'm just thankful it turned out as it did. Who's that, Tarp Anders?
Yeah.
Who got him? You?
No. I think it was your husband.
No. Dr. Fabrique gave strict orders he wasn't to get out of bed.
Well, now he can stay in bed and get well. You tell him for me I'll be dropping by to speak my thanks to both of you.
We'd like that.
Well, he cleaned up the country, the old Wild West country. He made law and order prevail. And none can deny it, the legend of Wyatt forever will live on the trail.
Oh, Wyatt Earp, brave, courageous,
and bold. Long live his fame, and long live his glory, and long may his story be told. Long may his story be told. I'll tell you a story, a real true life story, a tale of the western frontier. The West, it was lawless, but one man was flawless, and his is the story you'll hear. Oh, Wyatt Earp, brave, courageous, and bold. Long live his fame, and long live his glory, and long may his story be told. When he came to Kansas to settle in Kansas, he planned on a peaceable life. Some goods and some chattel, a few head of cattle, a home and a sweet loving wife. Oh, Wyatt Earp, brave, courageous, and bold. Long live his fame, and long live his glory, and long may his story be told.
This is the beginning of the story of Wyatt Earp, the greatest of the old fighting peace officers, a real Western hero. So great was his character and so complete his skill at living with danger that he became a legend in his own lifetime. In the hard world of the Western frontier, with all its bad men and outlaws, Wyatt Earp became the peacemaker. As a marshal, he went up against the worst of them, and the stories they tell about him are doubly fabulous because they're true. This is Ellsworth, Kansas, 1873. Don't let the peacefulness deceive you. It was about as ornery a little town as you'd find outside of Dodge City. It was run by the Thompsons, a notorious gang of frontier gamblers and killers. Most of the decent people had pulled stake, and the ones who remained were afraid. When Wyatt Earp first rode into Ellsworth, he was fresh from hunting buffalo on the Great Plains. He was just a peaceful young man looking for a place to wash up.
Not too much now. It's good, huh? You got enough?
No betting, Dan. No betting, Dan. And remember, stranger, anybody that deals a game in Ellsworth cuts with the Thompsons.
Oh, boy.
Why don't you do something, mister? You've got guns. Stop them. Do something.
Not my fight. But you're welcome to use my guns.
Don't say it. I know what you're thinking.
I'm gonna say it. What are you gonna do about this, Whitney?
Nothing. Real cowboys I can handle, but not this kind. I'm too old. That's why I sent for young Earp.
Young, you say?
Well, he ought to be 24, 25 by this time.
A real trigger-happy gunfighter, huh?
No, he's not a gunfighter. I've known him most of his life, and I've known his folks, too. I'm not even sure he'll take the job. But if he would, it'll make this a better town to live in.
What makes you sure he can handle this crowd?
He rode shotgun for Wells Fargo out in California. Never lost a dime or a passenger. And when it comes to pulling down a buffalo...
I think we ought to leave things alone. I do business with these men. Good business. So do you.
If I have to run a newspaper with their patronage, I'll close up. Well, I hope this Earp comes soon, Whitney. My name's Wyatt Earp. I'm looking for Sheriff Whitney.
Ain't here.
Hey, Mr. Earp!
Well, if it isn't Mr. Masters.
What's the matter? Don't you like the beds in the hotel?
You joshing? The judge gave me 10 days or $50. And I didn't even have 50 cents after...
After what?
After I lost my money in a poker game. You just can't beat a crooked game, Mr. Earp.
You got any objection to my paying Mr. Masterson's fine?
Mr. Masterson, why, that young rascal, he isn't worth it.
I said I'd like to pay his fine.
It's your money, mister.
Much obliged, Mr. Earp.
Don't mention it, Mr. Masterson.
Well, what are you doing in Ellsworth, Mr. Earp?
Well, I'm not right sure. Mr. Whitney sent word he wanted to see me.
It's Sheriff Whitney now.
That's what I hear. Who talked him into that?
Mayor Miller and the church people across the tracks. Somebody had to take it.
Mr. Whitney's a mite elderly for the job. From what I hear, this is a right bad town.
Bad? If you stay around here, you'll see the primest gunfights outside of Abilene. 4 men got killed last week, 3 the week before, in a poker game.
Well, speaking of poker, how much money did you lose?
$150, or thereabouts.
Professions?
Sure, but I'm no crybaby, Mr. Earp. Man's got to learn sometime.
Yeah, that's right. You think that game might still be running?
Guess so.
Where?
Shannon's bar.
Come on.
I thought you had to see Sheriff Whitney.
Oh, that can wait. You know, I got a great respect for poker. Honest poker, that is. You might say I'm real fond of it.
No, Mr. Earp. Cad Pierce and George Pashar run that game. They ride with the Thompsons. They're both mean and awful fast with their guns.
You want your money back, don't you?
How many, dealer?
Give me 2.
3. 2.
The 2 on the right.
3 queens.
Well, that's enough for me.
What's the matter? Don't you want to stay to get even?
Some other time.
You stay out of this. Mind if I sit in?
Table stakes, mister. It'll cost you 100.
Ante up, gentlemen. Hold it.
You didn't deal me the top card.
You sure you want to say that, Sonny?
I'll put it a little plainer. I think you deal a crooked game. Same goes for you. Don't try it. Now get out. Both of you. Go on, both of you.
Boy, you sure drew royal flush, Mr. Earp. It's all yours.
All I want's my 100 and 150 they took from you. Losers in the game divide the rest. Help yourself, gents.
Why'd you let him off? Why didn't you kill him?
No point in that.
Huh?
Well, they stole your money and I got it back. You lost 150?
No, not quite that much.
How much?
$31, all I had. The rest was bragging.
Well, now that took real courage to tell me that, Mr. Masterson. I'm proud you're my friend.
Yeah, but you should have killed him. They'll tell Ben Thompson and his brother Bill that you draw fast, but you don't shoot.
Well, when a man keeps on pulling his gun, you shoot. But if you get the drop on him and he quits, no.
Did you get that from the Bible or McGuffey's Reader?
I believe it's mentioned in both. You better check these at the hotel for me.
You better keep them on, Mr. Earp.
I'm not looking for trouble.
Yes, sir.
Wyatt, my boy.
Mr. Whitney, I started right off to find you, but I kind of got sidetracked.
Yes, I know. Say, sit down and rest yourself a mite, will you? I got a lot to talk to you about.
It won't take too much persuading to sell me some cattle.
Cattle? No, that isn't what I had in my mind. Wyatt, I sent for you to take my job.
What? You sure do make it awful tough, Mr. Whitney. I owe you for a lot of favors.
I just don't see me wearing a star.
Well, is that so outlandish? I knew your folks back in Illinois. A lot of lawyers in the Earp family. Your father was a judge.
That's right. But the Earps have done their share for the law. Anyway, the law out here means trouble. You get enough of that without going looking for it.
Well, if that's the way you really feel about it.
Yes, sir, it is. Sure don't like to turn you down, but all I want to do now is buy myself a little cattle spread and sit back and watch the steers grow fat.
Sounds good. But let me ask you something. Why did you go up against two of the best gunslingers in the Thompson outfit?
Because they cheated back?
I don't think that was the real reason.
No? What then?
A sense of rightness that was born in you. Some men have it, some don't.
Oh, look, Mr. Whitney, I'm sorry, but I just don't want the job.
I can't say as I really blame you. One man hasn't much chance to civilize a hoodlum cow town. But if you won't do me the big favor, will you do me a little one?
Yes, sir.
Get out of Ellsworth real fast. After that gunplay you made... Uh-oh. Ben and Bill Thompson.
Is that the great Wyatt Earp, Whitney?
Now, don't get nervous, Ben. He isn't wearing his guns. Better check yours at the hotel, too.
Is this the fool kid you're trying to make sheriff? What are you trying to do, pull a joke on us, Whitney?
Joke's on me, Bill. He won't take my job.
Go ahead, take it, Sonny. Run us out of town with your bare hands.
I'm not looking to cause any trouble for Mr. Whitney. I'll let him run me out of town. That satisfy you?
Yeah. Don't satisfy me. You don't make small of us with your jokes.
You better cool off, Bill. You're drunk. Give me the gun.
Sure, I'll give it to you. I've been wanting to give it to you for a long time, you meddling old fool.
You drunken fool!
At least I got me a sheriff.
Come on, get out of town. I'll cover for you.
Let's get him in the stores.
Now he wasn't partial to being a marshal, but fate went and dealt him his hand. While outlaws were looting and killing and shooting, he knew that he must take a stand. Oh, Wyatt Earp, long may his story be told.
Stay out of sight, Miller. We got this town treed.
He says he's going out there and arrest Ben Thompson, if he can find two guns that suit him.
Are you Wyatt Earp? Yes. I'm Vic Miller, mayor. Sheriff Whitney was my best friend.
It was mine, too.
Did you come here without guns?
No, sir. I checked them at the hotel. The Sears arrested on most of these.
I just heard about it.
Why the back door, Mr. Crawford?
Look, I need help, Mr. Mayor.
You could have shot Bill Thompson from behind a fence. You let him get away.
The thing to do is form a posse. Ben Thompson's the fastest hand with a Colt and...
Oh, let's see your gun. Give it to Mr. Earp.
Now, the dog's filed off. I know I can just let the hammer go. I tend to shoot too quick.
Maybe you ain't aiming to shoot at all.
I guess I'll have to use these.
I brought your guns, Mr. Earp.
You hurt?
Felt like I stopped a couple, but guess I didn't. I'm okay.
Needlessly reckless, Mr. Masterson. You could have come in by the alley like Marshal Crawford.
1 minute, Ben said. Then he'll shoot up my store. If Earp fires just one shot, they'll burn the town.
That might be a good thing. Here, you better wear this. I won't need it. I think Mr. Whitney would have liked you to.
Hey, Miller! The great Wyatt Earp's got his guns now, so send him out here.
Don't walk into that shotgun, Mr. Earp. Shoot quick.
If he ain't out here in a minute, I'm coming in and get it. Did you hear that, Earp?
He didn't run.
He's fast, Ben. Get him now.
Ain't you kind of foolhardy, son, letting Miller pin a star on you and send you out here? You guys stay out of this, all of you. You've come far enough, Earp. What do you expect me to do?
Throw your shotgun on the road, put up your hands, and tell your friends to stay out of this play.
Stop and let me talk to you. What are you going to do with me?
Kill you or take you to jail?
The minute I give this gun up, someone will cut loose at me.
If they do, I'll give you back your gun and we'll shoot it out with her. As long as you're my prisoner, the man who gets you's got to get me.
You going after my brother?
I don't waste my time. Now throw down your gun, or make you fight. All right, the rest of you men move back. Go on, move! Come on, Ben. We'll go over to the Calibers.
I think I could have gotten you.
No, that isn't what you were thinking.
No?
No, you figured I might get you.
If you had, my men would have shot you down.
Yeah, but you'd be dead. Then who'd look after your brother, Bill?
What are you, a mind reader?
Nope. But I got brothers, too. I can understand how you'd try and save them from the rope if you could.
Well, I'll be.
I agree with the judge.
Well, I don't agree with you, Judge, and I won't.
Quiet, both of you. I'll handle this in my own way. Well, Ben, what's the charge this time?
I guess we better let the new man speak his piece. He's the one that arrested me.
All right, son.
His brother Bill killed Sheriff Whitney. Ben helped him get away. That makes him accessory to the murder.
Bill did this, not Ben. Why didn't you organize a posse and go after Bill?
That'd be kind of stupid, sir.
Oh, it would.
Yes, sir. You just put Ben in jail where he belongs, and Bill's bound to come back and try to spring. When he does, I'll arrest him, and you can hang him.
Oh, now I ask you, Judge. Is that legal?
No, it'll lower the dignity of this court.
Your dignity? Mr. Earp arrested Thompson at the risk of his life.
Order. I know how you feel, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Beebe, what do you say about this?
Well, I think Ben ought to be fined for disturbing the peace, and that's all.
Well, Ben, you agree to take your crowd out of town right away?
Sure do.
All right. $25 fine, $3 costs.
Do I get my guns back, Judge?
Yep. Sheriff, what's your name? Return Mr. Thompson's guns to him. Court's adjourned.
Well, I didn't know you were in cahoots with the judge. Don't put him on till you get out of town.
Of course not. Promised the judge, didn't I? Come on, we're riding.
Just a cheap hunk of tin. Mr. Whitney didn't die for much, did he? I know how you feel, but I sure wish you'd give us another chance. No, thanks. Mr. Earp, we're going to get a new judge at the next election and some good officers to help keep order. My job's hunting buffalo. I don't get quite $25 a head for them, but then again, I don't have to bury them. Good day, gentlemen.
I'll learn you not to call Ben Thompson Yella.
I can handle him, Mr. Earp.
Get up again and I'll hurt you.
You're under arrest.
Who is it?
Marshal Crawford.
I thought you were still hiding.
You won't be so brave when Judge Osborne gets through with you. And then this fellow Earp knocked Pete Logan unconscious with the barrel of a .45.
That's a lie. He did it with his fist.
Order!
That means you keep your mouth shut. Well, Mr. Earp, who's stupid now?
You are, sir.
That's just what I wanted to hear. I fine you $50 for felonious assault, and I sentence you to 30 days in jail for contempt of this court.
That's the law for you. Mr. Earp ran your friends out of town single-handed, so you got...
Shut up! You get 15 days in jail.
For what?
Vagrancy. Lock him up.
So they call this justice. He started bragging that Ben Thompson had left several gunslingers in town to take care of you. So I asked him why Ben didn't stay himself. Now, is that vagrancy, Mr. Earp?
Nope.
Well, just what is vagrancy?
Well, if you're playing poker and you win, you're a sporting man. But if you lose, you're a vagrant.
So you're in jail for being honest, and I'm here for being poor. Now, what kind of law is that?
Just the Ellsworth brand. Oh, but it could have been a lot worse.
How?
Well, they could have caught you drawn to an inside straight.
What is it now, Miller? I'm in a hurry.
Just a little story I'm telegraphing to the Capitol. The governor might like it for his paper. I thought you might like to look it over.
No law west of Newton. No God west of Dodge. Well, that means Ellsworth. Are you aiming to get me in trouble with the governor? I don't think you've got the nerve.
Until today, I don't think I did have.
Shyster Judge. The law on Ellsworth is a farce. Well, that's libelous.
No, that's blackmail.
Well, what is it you want?
Wyatt Earp and young Masterson.
What's wrong, Mr. Earp?
Marshal Crawford and the judge sure left in an awful hurry by the back door.
They were scared of you.
The judge and the Thompson brothers can't afford to have us run it over them. Logan told Bat here that there was somebody gunning for me. And here it comes. Get away from me, both of you. Go on.
You in a hurry to leave town, Mr. Earp?
Nope.
Ben says we've had enough of you. So does Judge Osborne.
What do you think?
Get out. Well, you drink up.
Get Ben to teach you to shoot with both hands.
Come on, Bat, help me pick him up.
Yes, sir.
I guess I better wear that star before the judge can throw me in jail for disturbing the peace.
Primest gunfight I ever saw. Thompson caught his gun sight in the holster. Pierce heard his aim and got off a wild shot. But what happened to Bashar?
Well, he was left-handed. Go on, men, take him to jail.
Much as I hate losing good customers, Mr. Earp,
It'll be a pleasure having you around.
Can you imagine that? The odds were 3 to 1 against you, Mr. Earp.
Well, let's forget about gunfighting odds, Mr. Masterson. But I've noticed that you give very little thought to the odds in poker. Why, do you realize that the odds against your drawing a straight flush are 65,000 to 1? And in drawing to 1 pair, the odds against your improving that hand are 360 to 1. Oh, it's a risky business, poker.
Well, he cleaned up the country, the old Wild West country. He made law and order prevail. And none can deny it, the legend of Wyatt forever will live on the trail. Oh, Wyatt Earp, brave, courageous, and bold. Long live his fame, and long live his glory, and long may his story be told. Long may his story be told.
Well, I guess Miss McGill's aiming to gun Bat Masterson.
Don't be a fool. Why, she wouldn't have a chance in a gunfight with a man.
I wouldn't bet against her. Miss McGill's a shooting woman.
Wyatt Earp, brave, courageous, and bold. Long live his fame, and long live his glory, and long may his story be told.
The Life and Legend of Wyatt Earp, starring Hugh O'Brien. Women of the frontier, when Wyatt Earp was Marshal of Dodge City in 1876, had long been accustomed to scenes of violence and gunplay. But aside from tough show-offs like Calamity Jane, Belle Starr, and Pearl Hart, women rarely carried a gun or used one, and then only in some act of desperation. The circumstances which turned Mrs. Jane McGill into a shooting woman were unusual, and she became one of the most serious problems Marshal Earp ever tried to handle.
It's locked. Let's cut the wire.
Here, take this axe.
Get away from that fence!
Now, take it easy, Ma. We got cattle on the drive, need water. You've locked the gate.
I promised feed and water for Mr. Hap Dorset. He'll be driving his own cattle in soon. I gave him my word.
First come, first serve.
You ain't cutting my fence. Now back off now.
Boy, you old bat.
No. Shooting a woman? Tobe will have Wyatt Earp throw her in jail.
All right, let's go.
Hush up, folks. Come here, girl. Come on. Trouble's over for right now.
Mama, you shot at them.
Yeah, over their heads.
Oh, how could you? I promised Marshal Earp that the next time we had any trouble, we'd send for him. What if they tell Mr. Earp? I could have driven into town.
By then, they'd have busted down the fence. And speaking of promises, I gave Hap Dorset my word.
Oh, him.
You like the boy, don't you?
I've said it 50 times. I'm not marrying to live on a ranch. I've seen all the cows and cowhands I can take.
You think you'd rather have Bat Masterson?
No, we're just friends. Bat has lots of girls, town girls.
And a roving eye.
You seem to forget that I'm quite grown up. In fact, tomorrow I'll be 21.
21? Well, that's right, Effie. You'll be of legal and voting age if they let a woman vote. Well, it all kind of comes to a head, your birthday and Hap riding in.
Now, Mama, I haven't promised Hap anything. So happens that Bat's gonna take
Well,
me.
I better hitch up that rig and get into town before the stores close and the bank.
Bank? Our credit's run out at the stores and we haven't a dime in the bank.
Tomorrow's the day, honey. You'll be 21. And I made a promise on it.
Mr. Masterson, come on out here. I want to talk to you.
Now, what's up?
Mrs. McGill again. Took a couple of shots at some of Tobe Lawson's cowhands. They talked him out of filing a complaint.
Well, thanks.
I want you to ride out there and give her a good talking to, though. Part of her farm's on the city limits now, and she's got to quit shooting at people every time she has an argument.
Or couldn't you go out there this time, Wyatt? She doesn't think too much of...
I didn't pick Effie McGill for your girl. You just read this to her mother.
Yes, sir, but why don't...
Anyway, you got no reason to be wasting Effie's time. Or do you intend to marry her?
Marry her? Well, I haven't more than kissed her a couple times.
Well, that's enough to give a nice country girl ideas.
Gosh.
Well, Mrs. McGill's caused me a heap of trouble, but I kind of like her. She's over 50, and I'm just 30, but we're both old-timers in the West.
Huh?
Well, I guess that seems kind of odd to you, but you're not an old-timer unless you're hauled to California by wagon train. Didn't Effie tell you that she and her folks...
Wyatt, they want you down at the bank right away.
Hold up.
No. Something about Mrs. McGill.
Oh, well, Deputy Masterson can go.
Well, they asked for you, Wyatt. The cashier said that...
All right. You know, maybe you should get married.
This is unusual, madam. It's been 10 years since we've been asked to cash gold nuggets. You're not a depositor here, and you don't seem willing to explain how you came by these.
Well, I didn't steal them.
No one's accused you of that, Mrs. McGill. It's just that banks have to be careful. At $20 an ounce, you have almost $300 here. Oh, Marshal Earp, thank you for coming so promptly. We have a matter.
Howdy, Mrs. McGill.
Howdy, Marshal. He thinks I stole them.
Gold nuggets, Mr. Earp.
Well, Mrs. McGill and her family were 49ers. Didn't you tell Mr. Perkins that?
I don't like to talk about it.
Well, you're perfectly safe in cashing them, Mr. Perkins.
Well, if she'd only explained. One moment now. Have the cash for you, Mrs. McGill.
I'll be outside. I'd like to talk to you.
100, 200, and 300.
Thank you kindly. All that bother over a few piddling nuggets.
Well, that's going to start a lot of talk.
Ain't none of these town folks ever seen gold before?
Well, gold coins, but not any dust or nuggets. Oh, by the way, Tobe Lawson said that you took a couple of shots at some of his boys.
One shot. I aimed high. I told them I promised to save water and feed for half Dorset, but they started to tear down my fence.
Well, Mrs. McGill, I think that if you...
But didn't you tell me you hauled to California when you was 16?
Yes, I'm on a wagon train.
Yeah, well, us wagon trainers always took our own part.
Well, we had to then. You know, I can remember when my dad named me as the hunter, the whole party. I just about wore myself to a frazzle, stalking after all those buffalo and antelope. One day, I put on a big rebellion. Yes, sir. I told my old man they just have to eat wild turkey, and prairie chicken, and quail. Those people got so sick of eating it, they started calling me Cluck Cluck. And that shamed me back into hunting buffalo again.
Yeah, and if you'd have found one of those bullwhackers that trying to steal meat, wouldn't you have taken a shot at him?
Well, in those times, yes, sir.
Yeah.
Well, but you see, the law today says that people can't go around shooting other people just for trespassing unless you know for sure they aim to commit a felony. See, Mrs. McGill, times just aren't the same anymore. And I'm sure that Mr. Lawson would have been willing to pay for the food and the water and for the busted fence. Look, if anything like this happens again, you just have Effie come in to see me, huh?
All right. Depending there's time. But there ain't always been time, Mr. Earp. Long before you came to Dodge, I had to stand off hoodlums with a gun.
Yes, ma'am, I know that.
Yeah, well, Effie'll be hitting her 21st birthday tomorrow, and I aim to see Hap Dorset driving in with his first herd of steers. Well, like I told Effie, it's all coming to a head, and my work's almost finished.
Is the mother's job ever finished?
Handling the gold will be.
The gold? You got more of it?
Oh, yeah.
Well, now, you better bring it in here and put it in that bank.
It's safe, Mr. Earp. But I do thank you kindly.
Oh, scandal travels without a wire, swift and hot as a prairie fire. Gossiping, gossiping, gossiping all over town. The busybody's tongue is mightier than the sword, swift and eager to spread the word. Gossiping, gossiping, gossiping all over town.
Maybe it's just a lot of talk, Si.
Yeah. Maybe it ain't.
I better wait for the boss.
Why cut the whole outfit in on it? Just the old woman and her kid to handle. Ain't we men enough to do that?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Oh, they're beautiful. Just scrumptious, Mama. Did you, buy them on credit?
No.
But what with, then?
Never mind, they're paid for. Now, you try your dresses on. I gotta fix that fence.
Marshal Earp was here.
What do you want?
He thinks you've got some gold hidden on the place. And if that's true, he thinks you should put it in the bank.
I'm waiting for Hap Dorset.
Hap? What's he got to do with your money?
More than Wyatt Earp or Bat Masterson have.
Now, Mama, you wouldn't be so foolish as to try to bribe Hap into marrying me. I told you, I'm not going to marry a cattleman. We've had nothing all these years but 50 scraggy acres and this tumble-down old house. Smelly cowhands and bawling steers and drunken hoodlums you had to threaten with a gun.
It's been hard for you. I know that.
And worse for you. Why did you hide the gold? Why didn't you sell this place and move us into town?
The gold has blood on it.
Oh, you mean that Papa and John...
Wasn't their fault. I was the one who wanted to travel west. And then when we'd made our pile and started back, I got a fence that needs mending.
Tell me the rest of it. I want to understand.
When the posse had saved you and me, and when I was well enough, I went back to that ambush. I couldn't even find the graves. The buffalo had stomped the earth flat, killed the grass and the prairie flowers. What do you buy with blood? Pretties like them things? A house in Dodge City on a 2x4 lot? Your Papa and John, they didn't like the mines. They wanted to homestead land in California. Gold, that was my doing. What have you been guarding all these years? The dirt, the water in the well, the pond, the trees, the sky, and a fool of an old woman. And a girl who won't learn from her mama's foolishness.
Howdy, Miss McGill.
Hap Dorset.
I'm a little late getting here.
Well, it's about time. Where are your cattle?
Oh, down the trail a piece. Well, how's it been going, Ma? And how's Effie?
We're all right, but the drought got you, didn't it?
Yeah, it was pretty bad. I'm only bringing in about 100 head.
Oh, well, that's better than I expected.
No, Ma.
Oh, some small outfits ain't driving at all this season. You can rest them here and put some weight back on them. I've been holding it for you, Hap.
Well, I knew you'd keep your part of the bargain. But me, well, I can't even pay until I sell the steers.
Hap, don't worry about the pay, but kind of keep the bad news from Effie, huh?
No use, Ma. She can count cattle.
Oh, you can brag you shipped from Wichita or that you sold most of them to a trail buyer now, can't you?
No, ma'am. I never did have any luck lying to women. She'd find me out as quick as you did.
Take a look yonder.
Your mother's got Wyatt awful worried this time. He didn't order me to come out here. He asked me as a personal favor. Wyatt doesn't ask personal favors just for nothing, Effie.
You tell Mr. Earp that it is true what we were talking about, but I can't do a thing with Mama.
You ain't going to get any place with Effie eating humble pie. I tried that. Failures young girls nowadays don't tolerate them.
Well, I'm all kinds of a fool, and the drought starved me out, so what chance would I have asking her to marry me?
Don't that horse of yours want some water?
He sure does. Water, Patches. Water.
Sure is thirsty.
I better do a patch-up job for you there.
Nope. Hold me up that milk can. I'm going to change my bank.
That ain't real gold.
Yes, sir.
Well, thunderation, Ma, you shouldn't keep it there.
Is that all that interests you?
You should put it in a Wells Fargo bank or someplace.
Hap, I want to lend you some of that right now.
Oh, no.
Look, you can buy some more cattle, build a ranch house. It would all belong to you and Effie. I don't want none of it.
Thanks, Ma. Thanks just the same.
Hap, I know it looks like I'm trying to buy you for Effie, but that ain't the main point.
Well, there sure must be another point. You know I'd marry F tomorrow, and I wouldn't charge you a nickel.
Look at Hap, listen. Wait a minute. Well, ain't you gonna say howdy to an old friend?
My goodness, it is you, Hap Dorset.
Yes,
The sun was in my eyes and I couldn't make you out. Why, you look plumb tuckered, Hap. Aren't we going to invite him to supper, Ma?
He's invited.
Well, thanks, but I can't stay.
Why not?
Well, my cattle, Effie, I left them resting up the trail.
But you have cowhands to look after them.
One cowhand. We'll be driving in about midnight if you'll just give me a key to the gate, Ma.
I've got an extra one here.
Thanks. Maybe you'll invite me to breakfast.
Why, of course.
You sure get prettier every time I see you. And, Ma, you changed banks again. Well, bye.
One cowhand. Must have made a big success.
He tried.
Poor Hap.
Don't say that about him. He's been fighting the drought and his range dried up, and there wasn't nothing he could do about it except keep his courage.
All right, Mother. All right. I promised Bat I'd meet him in town. Can I use the rig?
No.
Very well. I can walk.
Oh, forget what I said. You can use the rig. It's already hitched up.
Thanks, Ma.
Well, the girl's out of the way.
What are we going to do about the old lady?
Scaring and talking.
The dog, he might raise a rumpus.
No, he won't. Come on, let's get at it.
Hey, come here. Boots.
You reckon she's still in the house?
I don't know. Seems kind of strange. Woman sees her own dog shot. Don't come running out or nothing.
Probably scared to death. Maybe she ain't here.
Let's look around.
The other one's in the parlor, dead. They killed my dog.
Here, let me do that.
You gonna arrest me?
Yep. Those men were Hogan and Lacey. They run with the Billings gang. I've got to keep you in protective custody.
For how long? Hap will be driving his cattle in at midnight.
Well, Billings and his crowd will be here before that, maybe. They're bound to have heard what happened.
I've caused you enough trouble.
You sure have.
Well, why worry with protecting me? If the rest of the outlaws come, let them ransack the place and take what they can find.
That isn't the law, Mrs. McGill. You've been wrong, but the law still has to protect you.
It's in the milk can in the well.
That's your mama's business, not mine.
What?
I'm not thinking about her and her money.
Oh, or me either.
She wouldn't turn in that gold when Wyatt told her to. Then she up and shoots two of Bud Billings' hoodlums. When the rest of them come, we may have a big gunfight on our hands. And all because your dear mama never heard of banks to keep money in.
Well, I thought you'd be willing to make allowances.
Not when folks get Wyatt into a lot of needless trouble.
Wyatt, always Wyatt. So he comes first?
Well, that's my job.
And the important thing is that, well, even though you started for the gold first, you always had the land in your head.
Yeah.
You know, I guess us wagon trainers are all alike. I've always wanted to have a cattle spread of my own.
Wyatt, big cloud of dust on the road out of town. Looks like Billings is on his way.
All right. Mrs. McGill, you and Effie go in the house. Stay strictly out of this. Get those horses in the corral.
Those my men, Hogan and Lacey?
That's right.
Told me back in town some crazy woman bushwhacked them.
You heard wrong, Mr. Billings. They shot her dog and then broke into her house.
That don't sound likely, Earp.
Well, that's what happened. You climb down off that horse and I'll show you where Lacey died in the parlor. I'll show you where the dog's buried, too, if you like.
Why would they do it? Broken down old place like this.
Well, Mr. Billings, they thought there was a lot of gold buried here. Didn't they send you word?
No.
Well, I guess they decided to take it on their own. Well, I've told you the truth. I've said all I'm going to say.
I heard you call a lot of names, Earp. Liar ain't one of them. Reckon Hogan and Lacey got what they deserved.
We'll let the court decide that later.
See you.
Yeah.
I see now. That's the way the new law works. At least when Mr. Earp's around.
What?
Yeah?
Effie says that gold is in a milk can down the well.
You go haul this stuff up. I'll go ask Mrs. McGill if I can't take it on over to the bank.
Yes, sir.
Here. Mrs. McGill, I'd like your permission to take and put that gold in the bank. Mr. Masterson says he knows where it is.
All right. Might as well take these along.
Yeah, that's a good idea, too. Excuse me for a minute. Miss Effie, Mr. Masterson is one of my best friends, but I can't say that he's good material for a husband yet.
No, he isn't.
I talked kind of mean to your mother, asking you not to add anything to it. It's a tough job getting blood off gold, and what she did all these years, she did for you.
I know that now.
You know, as an old wagon trainer myself, I'd just like to say that Mrs. McGill could captain a wagon train for me anytime, anyplace.
Well, I guess it's North Texas, Mr. Earp.
Saddle up. Take those with you. You know, Effie and Hap are going to need you.
Effie, did she say... You sure?
North Texas, that's what she said. But they're never going to make it without you.
Oh, go on now.
No, I mean it. North Texas is big country. It's a lot more your size than this little farm. When the northern winds start screaming and your grandchildren, they come down with the croup. You be there, Mrs. McGill.
I thank you kindly, old timer.
The West Country, he made law and order prevail, and none can deny it. The legend of Wyatt forever will live on the trail. Oh, Wyatt Earp, Wyatt Earp, brave, courageous, and bold. Long live his fame, and long live his glory, and long may his story be told. Long may his story be told. Wyatt Earp, brave, courageous, and bold. Long live his fame, and long live his glory, and long may his story be told.
The law-abiding element in Dodge City was ashamed of their town's reputation as the Gomorrah of the western frontier. That's why they hired Wyatt Earp to be their marshal in 1876. But it takes time and money to civilize a tough town. The city fathers of Dodge were understandably alarmed when they heard that a reporter for the great and influential New York Herald would be stopping off to write a story about conditions. As for Marshal Earp, it would be a cruel test of his efficiency as a peace officer. Dozens of penny shockers had spread the bad name of Dodge City throughout the land. But if a correspondent of the New York Herald could be impressed by one quiet day...
So this is the rip-roaring Dodge City, eh? Where's the dead man they serve up for breakfast?
Mr. Jensen, welcome to Dodge. I'm George Hoover, the mayor.
Oh, how do you do?
And these gentlemen are council members Kelly.
Sir?
Moffett.
How do you do?
Gale.
Hello.
And our marshal, Mr. Earp.
Howdy.
Well, the famous Mr. Earp. When's the shooting start, Marshal?
Well, I kind of asked all the boys to hold off on that until after you got here. I think the first thing on the program is breakfast.
Well, yes, at my house. The rig's just across the street.
Thank you very much, sir. Oh, isn't Mr. Earp coming with us?
Well, of course.
Oh, thanks, but I got to feed my prisoners. I'll see you later.
By all means. I'll expect an interview.
Marshal Earp! Fight! Mom says you better come in a hurry.
Toby, just not so loud.
But Mom says you gotta stop him from fighting, or she will.
All right. Now, who's fighting?
The dogs. Bosco, that belongs to Mr. Willett, and Avery, that belongs to Mr. Sam Donovan. Mom says it's against the law, and if you don't stop him, she'll do it with a shotgun.
Where's the fight?
Behind the Long Branch Saloon, right next to our backyard.
I'll be with you in a second.
Hurry, sir. Don't wait to put on your coat. Mom will get to shooting.
Yes, shut up! Didn't you men hear what I said?
Oh, no, it's her again.
I sent Toby for the marshal. But if he don't come and stop it, I'll stop it.
Keep your temper, Sarah. Dogfighting's a sport like boxing or anything.
No, it ain't. When men fight, that's their business. But sicking two poor dogs on each other, that's dirty, mean, and cruel.
Pay no attention, Sam. Are all the bets in? All the bets
come
down?
on, let everybody get
All right, form a circle, man. Form a circle.
Come on.
Spread out! Spread out! I want Jack to get the first barrel, and Sam the other one.
Don't shoot, Mom. I'm from Marshal Earp.
Sorry, gentlemen, no dogfights.
Yeah, why not?
Because you're disturbing Mrs. Cullen, and I don't like dogfights.
No. You just like to fight with guns, huh?
Well, I tell you, Mr. Willard, I don't mind a good fist fight. Why don't you and Mr. Donovan fight? I'll referee.
It's a good idea.
But if you want your dogs to do the fighting for you, then you better go outside the city limits where I can't stop you.
We'll have it some other time. When Nosy Sarah ain't around. And how about her threatening us with that gun, Deacon Earp?
Well, I'll tell you, Mr. Donovan, you can file a complaint, but then I'd have to charge you with cruelty to your dog.
Me? Cruel to him?
Well, you've been starving Avery to keep him in bad temper. You just move along, Mr. Donovan. I haven't finished my breakfast yet, and I'm kind of bad tempered myself. You better put away that gun, Mrs. Cullen.
Sure, Mr. Earp. And I thank you kindly.
Just about time for Toby to get ready for Sunday school, isn't it?
Aw, Mom, do I gotta?
Yes. Come on.
Mr. Earp needs me. Something else might happen. And I'm a special deputy on Saturdays and Sundays. Ain't I, Mr. Earp?
Oh, you've been a mighty big help, Mr. Toby.
No, he hasn't. He goes galloping after you, yelling bloody murder.
But, Mom!
There's a newspaper man from New York in town. Now, what'll he think of us? No chasing after Mr. Earp today, and not a yell out of you.
Yes, sir. So long, Mr. Earp.
I'll put you back on the force next weekend, Toby.
Yes, sir.
Well, thanks, pal.
Sure. Nice, quiet Sunday, Wyatt. You can use one.
The whole town can use one, especially today.
Oh, you're talking about that newspaper fellow over at Mayor Hoover's, huh?
Mm-hmm. Hal, the eyes of the New York Herald are upon us.
Who cares what they think?
Well, I'll let you in on a little secret. See, the city's trying to borrow some money, and an awful lot depends on how much...
Uh-oh.
Gosh, Mr. Earp, didn't you hear the fire bell? It's old man Cayley's shed. I saw the smoke just as I started
Toby.
for Sunday school, and the flames... Yes, sir?
The fire department will take care of Mr. Cayley's shed.
Toby, why don't you stop dogging Mr. Earp? He started one breakfast, then all of
All right, all right. Shed will burn clean down before they get those firemen collected. Poor old man.
What?
Mr. Cayley's in the shed. Dead drunk. Oh, excuse me for mentioning it. I know the shortest cut, Mr. Earp.
You try and eat the breakfast.
You stay here.
Don't try it, Mr. Earp. You'll get burnt up.
All right.
Oh, darn fool stuff. Start dipping your buckets in full water, boys. Mighty hot in there. Guess I'll make a try at getting Earp out. Drunk, dead to the world. Let her burn, boys. Save the water in case the house starts to hot up.
All right, then, we won't use it.
Mighty spunky work, Marshal. But you ought to arrest him. Third fire he started this year.
It's grand larceny, Mr. Earp.
It's just too much to drink. Now, you keep him here. Make him watch it burn.
I'll let his house burn, too. Have a stronger effect.
Don't you worry, Mr. Kelly. They won't let your house burn. You still got plenty of time to make Sunday school.
What are you sorting me for? I didn't yell fire on the street.
I'm not sorry. You did a good deed.
Then I don't have to go. I can coast maybe until next Sunday.
Master Toby, you are in no state of grace to allow any coasting.
But I helped you save Mr. Cayley and the shed.
Now, do you want me to cancel your appointment as special deputy?
No, sir. I'll go.
Excuse me, Mr. Jensen. I'm sorry to keep you waiting.
Not at all, Marshal. Trouble in town?
Nothing like that. Just a quiet, normal day. Excuse me, I'm gonna get myself a little slicked up for church.
Now, Marshal, aren't you pulling my leg?
In what way, Mr. Jensen?
All this talk about how quiet and peaceful Dodge City is. I've had quite a bit of it from your mayor and councilman. Is this town really civilized?
No, sir, not yet.
How long have you been marshal here, Mr. Earp?
Oh, about 3 months now.
How many men have you had to kill in the line of duty?
Well, none so far.
Really? But there have been killings here. Pitched gun battles, that sort of thing?
Well, been a few killings and gunfights.
But this is just a normal, quiet day. Not a shot fired since...
Excuse me, Mr. Jensen. I'll be back in a minute.
Go on.
Hal, I come up.
Come on, back here. Come on.
Drunken discharging weapons in the street. Those men were just showing off, Mr. Jensen.
Well, nobody got hurt.
Oh. I wish you'd put that in your paper. You know, 90% of all the wildness in Dodge is just bragging and bluster like that. You see, it's...
Indians, Mr. Earp. A big bunch of dull-nice men on the warpath. It'll be a massacre. Reverend Halcott sent everybody home from Sunday school, and...
Hold it. Now, there's no truth in this, is there, Toby?
Yes, sir, there sure is. They're right outside the town, and they sent a message to Mayor Hoover.
You sure?
There he is now, and Mr. Kelly. That'll prove it.
Now, son, it's all right. I can't understand this, Wyatt. A buffalo hunter brought it in. He says there's a war party of Cheyennes this side of the river.
Folks are getting a little excited, Wyatt.
Excited? They're scared. Mom's loading the shotgun with slugs.
Yeah, they want to send a powwow man into town. Guess I better ride out there.
Alone? Oh, heaven save us all.
Mr. Jensen, I kind of like to have you go along with me out there.
Well,
That's foolhardy, Wyatt. Why don't we let the powwow man come in and say what he has to say?
Because he wouldn't get 50 yards down Front Street. I don't think there's too much risk in it, Mr. Jensen. Anyway, I'd kind of like to have you see how wild rumors run in our town.
Very well. Glad to accompany you, Marshal.
Wyatt, you want to get him killed by Indians?
If he's even scratched, the New York
Mr.
Herald...
Mayor, I take it for granted that Mr. Jensen is here to write the truth about us. Isn't that right, Mr. Jensen?
That's right, Mr. Earp.
Can we borrow your buggy? Oh, and keep young Toby here.
Dull Knife and his people are on the warpath, you know.
Well, we're friendly. I help Mr. Cousin, Mr. Brother. They're blood kin to Dull Knife. Promise safe conduct to me and anybody with me.
The Cheyennes out there know that?
I sure hope so.
friends here?
No. What's the trouble?
No trouble. Much. My brother got arrow in leg. He went white man's doctor.
Put him on a horse.
Huh. You shoot him, huh?
No.
What is your name?
Earp. Wyatt Earp.
Mr. Cousin of Yellowhand, say you are a good man. Is there also good white doctor?
Doc McCarty. Very good doctor.
I will put my brother on horse.
I'm most grateful, Mr. Earp. This is the best story I've collected on my travels.
Quiet, no violence.
Mm-hmm.
Well, afraid I missed church. I'd like to have you be my guest for dinner.
Thank you, but I doubt if I'll have much of an appetite. Indians scare me. We've given them so many good reasons to shoot.
Marshal Earp! You better come quick. It's Frog-Face Perkins and Mr. Kelly. Frog-Face says he's going to shoot Mr. Kelly. And Mr. Kelly, he's got a gun.
All right, all right. Why don't you break it up?
Perkins ain't armed. I figure it's a lot of talk.
No, it ain't. There'll be a bloody gunfight, Mr. Earp.
Toby, I think your mother wants you. Al, take the Indian on over to Doc McCarty's. Mr. Jensen, I'll see you over at the Dodge House in about 10 minutes.
And I say you're a cheat and a swindler, Kelly. You just hang on to that gun. I'm going to get my own gun.
Well, Mr. Perkins, now what's all this row between you and Mr. Kelly?
He knows. Maybe he'll tell you.
Let him go for his gun, Wyatt. I ain't running.
Now, wait a minute. Put that gun up, Mr. Kelly. Now, there's not going to be any gunfighting today. If I catch either one of you with a gun, there's going to be trouble. You understand?
All right. You're the law.
Councilman Kelly.
Well, I'm in the right of the quarrel.
Well, then fight it out some other day. Just when I got this newspaper man thinking we're half civilized, you go and bust loose.
Ah, I told George Hoover we could never hide what we are. Let them New York papers print what they like.
Mr. Kelly, $100,000 is a big loan in these days.
We won't get it.
Well, we might. If Jensen doesn't go and print us up as a rowdy bunch. Now, I'm going to ask you as a personal favor not to get in any trouble today. How about it?
Well, for what Perkins called me, I should blow his gizzard out. But I owe you the favor.
Thank you, Mr. Kelly. Aaron go brah.
Porterhouse steak, 25 cents. Roast of buffalo hump, 30 cents. Prairie chicken fricassee, 20 cents. I'll have to show this menu to Delmonico's when I get back to New York.
Well, I recommend the quail on toast. It's very good.
But that's 50 cents. I don't want to put on airs.
You get 2 whole quail, more than you can eat, with vegetables and all.
Well...
Yeah, it's just a horse race. I kind of wish the boys wouldn't use Front Street, though. Well, Sully, I'll start with some oysters and some quail on toast. And...
Marshal Earp! Marshal Earp!
I thought I told you that you were
It's a
supposed
crooked race, Mr. Earp. The Bardee rider fouled that lazy H pony.
Will you please go home?
Yes, sir. But don't blame me if the lazy H'ers go for their guns. And if they don't kill a few, the gamblers will. But don't blame me.
You go ahead and order. I'll be right back.
our horse got fouled. You hit him across the face with your quirt just as he was going to pass you.
That's a dirty lie. We want fair and square. You lazy H's are just crybabying to get out of paying the bets.
We ain't paying no bets.
You don't welch on us. We'll get our guns and then we'll collect.
We got guns, too.
You bet we should.
Let's get this settled.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know who was fouled, and I don't care, but I'm calling all bets off.
All right. Then we'll run the race over.
Next Sunday.
What big-headed notion is this, sir? You can't tell us
Yes,
what...
I'm telling you. Now, all bets are off, and the race is postponed 1 week. You understand? I'll break it up.
I'll bet you not.
Go on.
Where's Jensen?
Oh, he went with Mr. Kelly. Looked at Boot Hill just before dark.
Yeah, I reckon they went back to Kelly's place to have a drink. Yeah. What do you think we put it over?
Hope so. You want some milk?
No. Well, it has been a quiet day. No killings, no gunfights, and only 2 arrests.
Yeah, well, we all tried to sit on the lid.
Jensen couldn't write anything wild and woolly about us.
Well, not yet, no, but I'll sure be a lot happier when he's on that night stage for Kansas City.
Maybe you should have stayed with him, Wyatt.
He took quite a shine to Jim Kelly.
Wish I had more confidence in Jim.
Come on, you like Mr. Kelly. Anyway, he's what the newspaper men call a colorful personality.
Yes, that's right, but... Toby, are you still dogging Mr. Earp around?
No, sir.
Well, it must be good news. Whatever it's bad news, he comes in on the gallop.
I guess it's good.
What do you mean, Toby?
Well, I don't think Frog-Faced Perkins would actually kill Mr. Jensen. He might kill Mr. Kelly, but what's he got against Mr. Jensen?
Well, come on out with it. Did Frog-Face have his guns?
A gun, yes, sir.
Well, then what happened? I mean, where are they?
Boot Hill Cemetery.
Good heavens. Tell us, boy.
Nothing much to tell, I guess. Frog-Faced Perkins sneaked up and caught him at Boot Hill.
Well, then what did they do?
Well, he said he was going to shoot Mr. Kelly and then shoot Mr. Jensen because he'd be a witness. But I don't think he'd actually shoot Mr. Jensen.
Well, how long ago was this?
Just before dark.
Good heavens above. What happened after Perkins put a gun on them?
I don't know. I got scared and ran. It'd soon be dark in Boot Hill, and that's a scary place, and I wouldn't be scared with Mr. Earp along. Is it all right if I go too?
No, you go home. And if I ever catch you running after Mr. Earp again, I'll send you to reform school.
Reform school?
The reform school.
Reform school.
Your time is about up, Kelly. You gonna buy a footstone from my pal's grave?
Never. I spent all the money you give me for the headstone, and $12 more.
Why, that headstone ain't worth no $70. You're a no good cheat, Kelly. You're the lowest skunking cheat there is. Robbing the dead.
Mr. Perkins.
Yeah?
I see no need for this morbid talk. I don't defend Mr. Kelly. He's a stubborn Irishman.
You hear that, Kelly?
But that's no reason for committing cold-blooded murder. I'm reaching for money, not a gun.
I don't want your money. I want him to pay.
Not 1 red cent.
All right. I'll give you 10 seconds to say a prayer. Now start praying.
You start. Shoot him, Wyatt.
Had to break his arm.
Go ahead.
No, stop it. That wouldn't make nice reading in the Herald, Mr. Earp.
No, I guess it wouldn't, Mr. Jensen. Come on, Mr. Kelly. Give me a hand over to Doc McCarty's. Get the scalp stitched up.
You're hooligans, all of you.
Ruthless, brutal hooligans. Listen to that now. You keep Frog-Face from murdering the both of us, and he calls you names.
He'll change his mind when he's had a chance to think about it. I'll take a look in your trunk rack if you don't mind.
Oh, it's you, Mr. Erb. You hold up stages in your spare time?
Oh, I thought so.
Oh, Mr. Erb.
Now, come on, get out of there. All right, Willie. Go on. Bye, Mr. Jensen. What did you think you were doing?
Mayor Hoover threatened to send me to reform school.
Well, that's just a joke, Toby. But what Mr. Jensen's going to write about us won't be any joke.
Why should he write bad things about us? Nobody did anything much. It was a nice, quiet day.
Sure. But when you get to be an old man and read about Dodge City in the history books, well, there just won't be any quiet days at all.
Why?
Well, because the quiet days, the ones where people didn't do any fighting or killing or steal each other blind, well, they just won't be counted in the history books.
But doesn't the good Lord count them, Mr. Erb?
Yes, Toby. He counts them.
Well, he cleaned up the country, the old Wild West country. He made law and order prevail. And none can deny it, the legend of Wyatt forever will live on the trail.
Oh, Wyatt Earp, brave, courageous, and bold. Long live his fame, and long live his glory, and long may his story be told. Long may his story be told. Wyatt Earp, brave, courageous, and bold. Long live his fame, and long live his glory, and long may his story be told.
In the Wichita, Kansas of 1875, there was one subject more deadly than the raids of outlaws or the gunfights between cowhands. Should women be allowed to vote? Yes, we smile now, but this was a controversy which erupted in violence along the frontier. And when the woman's suffrage movement hit Wichita like a tornado, Marshal Wyatt Earp found himself caught between the two warring factions, with his life and his job at stake.
I want to tear that sign down. Yeah, go on. Oh, let's break it up. We're both under arrest. What are you arresting me for, Marshal?
Takes two to make a fight, Mr. Donovan.
Well, we don't want no suffragettes from Wyoming telling us folks in Kansas what to do.
I'm from Wyoming. We gave him the vote 5 years ago, and it ain't done no harm. I take him to jail. I got it. And the rest of you break it up.
My boss's wife is a suffragette.
Well, she ain't right bright.
You calling that told you to break it up. Now hold it.
He says he's going to roust that lady speaker as soon as she leaves the depot.
Thanks. I better go on down there.
Well, I told you to hold it, and you walk with me until you cool off.
Well, there ought to be a law against these...
Bring it up in the
men.
next Congress. Shame to say this, Miss Laramie, but you're invading enemy country.
Oh, that's not unusual for me, Mr. Murdoch. Why, I've even had eggs thrown at me several times.
We have rough ways in Wichita.
Rough? Why, you publish the best paper west of Kansas City.
Thank you, ma'am.
And that darling wife of yours. I know it was brave of her to invite me to speak, but there won't be any trouble, I'm sure.
Well, this is my office, Miss Laramie.
Sorry, Mr. Murdoch, it's as far as she goes.
Jim, what is this?
We're not going to hurt Miss Laramie. Just make sure she gets back on the next train.
You men must be drunk or crazy. Oh! All right, don't try anything. Get off your horses.
Nice timing, Wyatt.
That poor man, you killed him.
No. He's just groggy. This is Mr. Earp, our town marshal. In all the gunfights and melees he's had to go through, he's never once seriously hurt or killed a man.
Ollie, you and Paul take him on over to jail. I better go on over to the hotel with you.
Yes, I think you have.
No. You take my things on over to the hotel, Mr. Murdoch. I'm going to the jail.
Jail?
Why, yes. I have to help those poor cowhands. And I want to talk to you, Mr. Earp.
Oh? Miss Laramie is our guest, Wyatt. She has the freedom of the town. I'll bring Mrs. Murdoch over to the hotel later.
Thank you. Jails don't shock me. And please don't offer me your arm. And I can't quite follow your reasoning, Mr. Earp. Those men are simply misguided. Why keep them in jail?
Attempted abduction, wearing guns within the city limits.
Well, won't you let me sign bond for them?
That's up to the judge. Now, won't you please sit down? Look, Miss Laramie, woman suffrage is a political controversy. It's not my job to take sides. I'm hired to keep order.
Oh, a wishy-washy neutral.
No, I'm a peace officer. I stop fights and try to prevent cowhands from interfering with you. Now, as to this meeting of yours tonight.
Yes?
It may start a riot. I think you ought to change the place of the meeting and hold it on the other side of town.
Oh, that's nonsense. Wichita is a civilized town.
Wyatt, there's a big free-for-all down at Keno Corner. You better hurry.
Guns?
No, just fist-fighting, Ollie says, but it could turn into a gunfight.
Yeah. Well, as you say, Miss Laramie, Wichita is a civilized town. I'll see you later.
Come on now, cut it out. Got it with you guys.
Break it up! And the next time I catch any of you fighting like this, you're going to spend 5 days in jail. Now go on, break it up. Go on.
You favor votes for women?
Not at the moment. How do you stand, Wyatt?
I'm lucky I'm standing at all. Some one person started that uproar out there.
Yes, I think Senator Mike Teague has passed the word.
Teague, when did he get back?
Last night. I begged my wife not to hold that meeting downtown.
Is the senator feeling that much against voting for women?
If women had the vote in Kansas, Mike wouldn't last long as a politician. Crusty, middle-aged bachelor.
Yeah, his boys could start a riot.
Sure. I told Mrs. Murdoch. You know what her reply was? She said, we hire men to keep order. If anything happens at the music hall, it'll be your fault.
Oh, that's nice.
Did you speak to Miss Laramie about moving the rally?
I did. No luck. Now I'll go have a talk with the other side of the argument, Mike Teague. Hey, cheer up. What do you got to be so sad about?
I have to write an editorial on women's suffrage.
I thought being marshal of Wichita was tough. Good luck.
And I think I may honestly say, I have too much respect for the ladies. May heaven always bless them. To have their pure natures trapped in the pit of politics.
Amen, Senator. You know, I read in the Kansas City Star that the strain of voting would be bad for their health. Now, what do you think of that, Senator?
A very important point. Who'd want his mother, his sister, or his wife jostling among men for a place at the polls on election day? We put our women on a pedestal. Why, gentlemen, if we force them to vote, they'll be running for office next.
Impossible, sir.
No, sir, not impossible. And what would happen to the law with women on juries and women judges? Oh, and speaking of the law, here's my good friend, Marshal Earp. Excuse me, gentlemen. Well, Wyatt, how are you?
Well, I'm in good health, Senator, but there seems to be an epidemic of broken heads around.
Oh, you mean this suffragette business? A nasty bad thing.
Well, I'd kind of like to talk to you about it.
Well, certainly. Shall we rest ourselves, Wyatt?
Why don't we go in the back room?
Of course. Good idea. Oh. Give all the boys a drink. On the Senator.
Now, look, it's my job to head off any more trouble before it gets started. And the Douglas Avenue crowd would listen to you, Senator. It'd be a big help if you asked the boys to cool off. What do you say?
Wyatt, you've made a great record here. I'm proud of what you've done for Wichita.
But you won't call off the rough stuff, huh?
Oh, let's not put it that way.
Well, how would you put it?
I think she's after starting a riot so she can be a martyr. That's the way they put it over in Wyoming. Oh, you're one of the Lord's innocents when it comes to politics, Wyatt. The Laramie woman is a female John Brown. This is a police matter involving the public safety. I think you should close the music hall.
What good would that do? They just hold their meeting out in the street.
Then arrest the woman and escort her to the first train.
Are you that afraid of it?
What?
Look, the females have been voting in Wyoming for several years. They got one of the best territorial governments I know about.
Miss Laramie has made a quick convert.
No, sir. But I've made a quick discovery. It isn't just political conscience that bothers you. You're afraid of women. And the way they may vote. You've been waiting here all this time?
Yes. Your men brought in a dozen more cowhands. Some of them have been brutally treated.
Well, we didn't do it. They got bruised up fighting among themselves.
Well, I must take your word for that. I don't suppose you'll release them without fines.
It's up to the judge.
Here's $500. Can I post this? If it comes to more, you could let me know at the hotel.
All right. You want me to let the newspaper know about it?
It might help our cause.
Mm-hmm. I just had a talk with Senator Teague.
Oh, him.
Well, you know the senator.
By reputation. He's one of our worst enemies in Kansas.
I also had a talk with Mr. Murdoch. We both think that you ought to hold tonight's meeting on the other side of town.
No.
All right, then maybe I can put on enough special deputies to protect you.
I don't want police protection.
That's for me to decide, not you.
Oh, I found you out at last, Marshal Earp. You're against us.
Wait a minute, Miss Laramie. All the women I know believe in equal rights.
Indeed.
But they realize it's going to be a long fight. Now, you think you had a real tussle in Wyoming. Well, the men outnumber the women 8-1 there. The politicians gave you that vote.
Oh, no, we won it.
Only because the men figured that your vote wouldn't amount to anything. Soon there'll be as many women as there are men in Kansas. It's a different deal here. If you don't stop behaving like a fool, you're going to set your cause back years and years.
And how should I behave?
Like a woman. Ollie, in a half hour, I want you and Paul to go on over to the music hall. Watch that front door. Frisk every man for guns, rocks, and rotten eggs. I'll have the special deputies inside and on the back door. They'll all be carrying guns inside their coat.
Oh, hi, Mr. Murdoch.
Ollie.
Gotta talk to you, Wang.
Look, the special deputies will be here any minute. Why don't you go outside and meet them?
Okay.
Right? Any trouble starts, I want you to know who they are.
Right.
Yes, sir.
You don't look too happy. What's wrong?
That Laramie woman. She's talked the mayor into calling off your plans. What? They were ashamed to hand you this. I do all the dirty work. No police protection, just 2 officers outside the music hall.
Well, Jim Hope's the boss.
I'm sorry, Wyatt. They'll all be sorry long before that meeting's over.
Yeah. It'll be too late. Maybe I could say I never got this order.
Whoa, now, Wyatt.
Worst thing I can do is fire me.
Well, we could both be wrong. What if nothing happens at all? We can't afford to rile up the mayor.
Well, maybe you're right. I'm gonna still keep my deputies close by. Any trouble starts, so we can get there in time.
in my liquor. If I ever catch my wife
Stay in there, you.
What's the matter with you?
All I said was it'd be all right for Texas women to vote.
And I say Alabama women can vote. They have as much sense as Texas women.
Don't you say nothing about Texas women.
That's right. All I got to say to you is...
Oh, so...
Get in there.
Get in.
Oh, you want to... No. Hey, just a minute. Hold it, Red.
Well, here, hold it yourself.
Just a minute, Red. Hold it. Hold it.
Why, you...
Hold it.
Save your strength for inside.
All right.
Go on in.
All right. All right. Can't even have any fun.
Senator?
Just a little argument, Wyatt. No harm done.
What was that remark I heard you make about saving strength for inside?
You misunderstood me. What I said
My
was...
hearing's right good, Senator. I asked you to keep your crowd in order. You better do it.
Are you threatening me?
You can call it anything you want. But if there is any trouble, you're going to go to jail along with the rest of them.
You're working awfully hard to lose a good job.
Please, ladies and gentlemen, may I present Miss Joan Laramie, the Joan of Arc from Wyoming. Miss Laramie.
Please. I am not a monster. I haven't come here to put the people of Wichita in a dungeon. I have come to ask that you set free 1/2 of your own people who are now in chains. Yes, in chains. The women of Kansas are not free. No woman in this republic is free until she has the right to vote. I repeat, no woman is free until she has the right to vote.
Go on over to Doc for Brake's office. All right, there's a couple of men in there who need medical attention. I know it. I'll send some men over.
Hold still, blast you. By rights, I ought to saw your leg off.
Why, Doc? Which side you on?
Neither one. I believe in taking the votes away from everybody until they prove they got the brains that the good Lord gave a goose. Huh? Stay outside. I got enough in here already. Bleeding pretty bad, Doc. Sit down and wait your turn. Why, Doc, you know me. Sit down and shut up. There's a man over here's got a slug in his chest. Up on the table, Sonny. Easy now.
Oh, Senator Teague?
Yes? Oh, it's Miss Laramie.
Oh, please don't try to get up. I heard you've been injured. Is it very bad?
The ministering angel.
Let me see. Oh, Doctor.
You wait your turn.
I will not.
Give me a hand, boy. Just hold his shoulder. It's a big wound. Very dangerous.
Oh, Doctor, this won't do. He needs some stitches.
All right, sister. Why don't you go and find a needle and a thimble?
Doctor, I am Joan Laramie, and this is Senator Teague.
Yes, I know all about it. And a fine howdy-do you both started. Before you know it, they'll be bringing Wyatt in here dead. Let the senator bleed. I'll be all right.
Well, a bandage is better than a handkerchief. Is it true that your people started the riot?
Well, now, Don't lie to her, Mike.
He doesn't have to lie to me. I've made friends of some of my bitterest political enemies.
I hold to my opinion. Politics, talk. That's all you keep doing. While I'm over here working,
trying to patch these people up, fixing the voters so they can go to the polls. Hey, it's getting quiet outside. Let me see that wound. You don't need any stitches. Get out of here. Both of you. I got men out in that waiting room that need knife and bullet work. Don't tell me they missed you.
I was lucky. Senator, can you walk to jail?
You're not arresting me.
That's right. Come on.
Why
You better come, too.
We're both under arrest.
That's right.
On what charge, might I ask?
Inciting to riot.
You're right, Wyatt. The senator just the same as admitted that his crowd started the trouble.
There's a dead man over at the Texas Hotel bar. Come on. Persecution.
Persecution. Politics. Oh, every day it's something new. Talk. Politics. How would he come now? Oh, boy. Politics.
Wally? Yes, sir. These two people will be staying with us until I talk to the judge.
You can't get away with this, Wyatt.
That's for the judge to decide.
After you're fired, my friends may hurt you.
Well, thank you for warning me, Senator. If you'd like to use my desk to write another speech, go right ahead.
No, thank you.
Keep the door locked behind me. Yes, sir.
Like some water?
Yes. Not in that. That fellow Earp deserves to be fired.
He will be.
But, Senator, you said your friends would hurt him. You didn't mean that.
I can't control my friends.
But the mayor will release us, and the judge will discharge Mr. Earp. Isn't that enough?
You started this thing.
I did nothing of the sort. I came here to make a speech.
On a bitterly controversial matter.
But your friends started the fighting.
I don't admit that.
Well, it's true, and fortunately can be proven. Sorry I tried to make friends with a hoodlum like you.
Calling names now.
I've said all I'm going to say.
Good.
This time you may have lost your temper and used bad judgment. I can't understand why you arrested Teague and Miss Laramie. You can't prove incitement to riot against either of them.
That's what they did, Judge.
I agree with Wyatt. Did Miss Laramie incite the audience to use force?
No, sir.
Have you any witnesses that will swear that Teague ordered his crowd to break up the meeting?
No, sir.
All right. Then you'd better release them at once and apologize.
I'll apologize to Miss Laramie.
That will not satisfy Teague. And he's a state senator from this district.
I don't care who he is.
Now, Wyatt.
Look, there was a man killed tonight and a lot of others were hurt. Now, if you and the mayor want me to resign, all right, but he gets no apology.
I advise you to reconsider.
Wyatt, there's been enough trouble already.
No, let's go all the way. I quit.
Now, Wyatt. Now, wait a minute. Think this over.
Mayor, you want to talk to you? Come on out here.
Your friends?
I know them.
You heard me turn the senator loose.
Wyatt isn't here. You men better go home.
Call to them. Tell them to stop.
He's asking for it.
Then I will.
No, wait. You keep out of it.
6 men against 1? Is that really what you believe in?
I'm a hoodlum. Your own word.
I got him covered, Wyatt. Just give me the word and I'll blast him.
Hold it. Don't pay any attention to this star I'm wearing. I'm not the marshal anymore. I quit.
That's real good news. Hold it. One of his deputies will plug us in the back.
No, they won't. Ollie, whoever's inside there, stay out of this.
Drop it. No fight.
All right, Senator. All we wanted was to get you out of there.
He's out. The judge ordered him released. You too, Miss Laramie.
Just like I said, Wyatt. Come on, boys.
He saved your life.
Maybe.
You aren't really going to quit, are you, Mr. Earp?
It's already done. The judge asked me to apologize to you, so I apologize.
Is that why you want to quit?
No, I arrested Teague and the judge wouldn't back me up.
But you were wrong, you know.
I was wrong about the man being killed?
Yes, the senator was trying to stop his men. I was wrong tonight, too. And just as stubborn about it as you are.
Oh?
I'm going to hold another meeting, but away from downtown. I'm sure Senator Teague won't object at all. Mr. Earp, you're a brave man and a good officer. Won't you change your mind and...
Quiet. There's trouble at Doc Verbeek's office. Some of the cowhands that got hurt are threatening to start the fight all over again.
Tell Doc I'll be right down.
All right.
I'll see you at the next meeting. And you know, I really do favor votes for women.
Well, he cleaned up the country, the old Wild West country. He made law and order prevail. And none can deny it, the legend of Wyatt forever will live on the trail.
Oh, Wyatt Earp, Wyatt Earp, brave, courageous, and bold. Long live his fame, and long live his glory, and long may his story be told. Wyatt Earp, Wyatt Earp, brave, courageous, and bold. Long live his fame, and long live his glory, and long may his story be told. Long may his story be told. Wyatt Earp, Wyatt Earp, brave, courageous, and bold. Long live his fame, and long live his glory, and long may his story be told.
One of the toughest problems Wyatt Earp had to repeatedly contend with in taming the wild and lawless cowtown of Wichita was mob rule, when otherwise respectable citizens, and some not so respectable, tried to take the law into their own hands.
Where's that coffee, Tex?
On up.
Morning, Shorty.
Howdy do.
How's things at the Rainbow Ranch? Some coffee?
No thanks. Well, we're losing cattle now and then.
You're not the only one. Every ranch of the 100 miles of Wichita has been losing cows lately.
Including us.
Well, maybe the rustling's over with now, after what I just seen.
What'd you see?
I seen Bill Slocum in a gully out between the Salt Flats and Miller Creek.
Well, that's our range.
He had a fire going and a cow roped on the ground.
Whose cow? One of his?
No, Duke. One of yours.
What?
Yeah. I seen the brand plain on her hide.
Maybe Bill Slocum's been doing all this rustling all along, Duke.
Sure looks like it. Using the running iron, I reckon.
Now, I didn't exactly see him use the running iron. It might be that he had that cow tied up for some other reason.
Sure. Why else would he have a fire going? Unless to heat up an iron to change a brand.
Yeah. Why else?
You know, we ought to make a call on Bill Slocum. Teach him the error of his ways, Duke.
Sit down, Shorty.
No thanks, Duke. I gotta go back to Rainbow. So long, fellas.
Thanks for the information,
So long.
Shorty. Now we get that river bottom land that Bill Slocum claims is his for nothing.
Uh-huh.
You know, it's a good thing we got Shorty for a witness.
Sure is. No one would believe it if one of my riders claimed he saw Bill rustling. Tex, you better get the boys. We're going to a party.
Where do I pick up Bill? At his ranch?
No, he'll be at the cattlemen's meeting this afternoon in Wichita. We'll take him in hand there.
You think that's a good idea? White Earp might cause us some trouble.
This happened out of town. It isn't any of Earp's business. And if he's as smart as people claim he is, he'll be looking in the other direction when we pick up Bill.
You're the boss.
Is the meeting over? Hi, Moss. Bill?
What?
Mr. Delaney, how'd the meeting end up?
Oh, like all meetings, a lot of talk, no action. Me, I'm a man who wants a little action.
Like what?
Well, I'd rather not say. But one thing I do know, if I lose many more cattle to the rustlers, I'm going into bankruptcy.
Maybe you ought to hire a couple of range detectives yourself.
There you are, Moss.
No, I can do my own detecting. If I catch anyone following my herds around, I'll string them up to the tallest tree in Kansas.
That wouldn't be very wise, Mr. Delaney.
You got a better idea?
Yeah, you catch anybody rustling, you ought to turn them over to the proper authorities and let them give them a fair trial.
Fair trial? Why, the courts would let a man like that go scot-free 9 times out of 10.
Well, if he's innocent, naturally. You forget that all of us are innocent until proven guilty. I'll see you.
Yeah. Well, it's plain to see he's got no cows to lose. Earp or no Earp, if I catch me a rustler, I'm going to see just how far his neck will stretch. Well, so long, Bill. Say hello to the wife and the young uns.
Right.
Going somewheres, Bill?
Going in that saloon if it's any of your business, which it ain't.
Says he's going in for a drink, Duke.
You haven't got time for that drink, Bill. There's your horse. Get on it.
What's the idea of pulling a gun on me?
Get on your horse like Duke says.
Put him on his horse.
Where are we taking him, Duke?
The Cottonwood Grove and Cowskin Camp.
Quiet. Duke Wilson and his boys just buffaloed Bill Slocum. They're taking him out of town. I heard Duke say something about the Cottonwood Grove at Cowskin Camp. Looks like they planned to lynch Bill.
You all set, Tex?
All set, Duke.
Shorty Beckett saw it all, so we have proof, if we need it.
No use my telling you you got the wrong man. You know who's been doing the rustling around here.
Much obliged for the river bottom land, Bill. After you slip the noose over his head, I'll hit the horse.
Get the rope off that horse and turn it loose.
You're sticking your nose into something that's none of your business, Wyatt.
Well, I figure lynching's every man's business, Duke.
Your authority don't extend beyond the town limits of Wichita.
You must be mistaken. Seems to me I got quite a lot of authority right here in my hand. You can't kidnap a man on our main street and bring him out here to hang him, or did somebody forget to tell you that? All right, Tex, cut him loose. I said cut him loose!
That's for past favors.
Man's a proven rustler, you know that.
Yeah, who proved it?
Shorty Beckett saw him using a running iron on one of my cows this morning.
Why, you...
Take it easy, Bill. That's hard in the knuckles. Go and climb on your horse. We'll start back to town.
Well, I guess we know now how you feel about rustlers, Mr. Wyatt Earp.
Look, proof of a man's guilt is only decided by a court of law. If you get any charges to bring against Mr. Slocum, you do it in the proper manner. And we'll have a trial by judge and jury. They'll decide whether your charges are true or not. That's the way civilized people do it, Duke, just in case you're interested.
You haven't heard the last of this.
What are you gonna do about it, Duke?
Tex, you hightail back to the ranch with the boys and get your guns. Meet me at Allen's Corner about an hour before sundown.
All right.
Heard about things like lynching parties, but that was too close. Wyatt, ever had anything like that happen to you?
No. Never won a noose yet, but I think there are a lot of boys around Wichita that got some hemp all picked out for me.
Mighty awful feeling. You can't do anything about it. You can't reason with anybody. You can't convince them.
Well, I tell you, Bill, half the trouble of being a marshal is trying to protect men from lynch mobs.
If it hadn't been for you, I'd be dead right now. Sure. And what would they have done to those guys if they had lynched me?
Well, they'd have been arrested, tried.
Sure, and I'd have been dead. And the law would have just pointed their finger at them and said, you're bad, bad boys. Isn't that right?
No, you're wrong. They'd have been found guilty. Now, come on, get hold of yourself. Try to think of something else.
All right. All right, what do I do now?
You stay here in jail under my custody. Till I can prove your case one way or the other.
Stay here in jail. You just got through telling me that one of your biggest troubles is keeping away lynch mobs. If you keep me in there, they're bound to try and get me.
Now, look, cool off and try and forget about it. You're going to stay here.
Getting out of here. Now, look, if I'm going to die, I'm not going to do it like a sitting duck. I'm going to take someone with me. Wyatt, you saved my life. I don't want it to be you. Now, get out of my way.
I didn't think you'd fall for anything like that. You know, that gun isn't loaded.
I know that trick, and I know it's loaded.
Well, if I were you, I'd break it open and make sure.
I know that trick, too, and I know it's loaded.
Are you sure, Mr. Slocum?
Don't make me pull the trigger, Wyatt.
You know, I keep that gun unloaded because it's a good test on prisoners. I've had a couple of them pull the trigger on me.
You're bluffing. I'm sorry, Wyatt. I could have killed you. I'm sorry.
No, I don't think you wanted to really pull that trigger.
No, I guess it didn't. What, doesn't that prove to you I'm innocent?
No, it just proves you're not a murderer. It's a long road from rustling cattle to shooting a man in cold blood.
But I am innocent.
Then you ought to be willing to stand trial. The lynch mob, they don't go by the law and they don't go by evidence, but the judge and jury will.
How do I know
Settle
that?
it in court, Bill. Otherwise, you're going to have that thing hanging over your head the rest of your life, and I can't keep you in protective custody forever.
All right, put me on trial.
Good. I'll make the arrangements with Judge Jewett.
What? Sure want to thank you.
put you in. So.
Well, thanks, boys. I'll tell the marshal.
Where?
Duke Wilson and his men are in the joints around Keno Corner talking up a mob to come after Bill Slocum.
I had the scheduled time pretty well. That's why I'm eating supper now. I didn't think I'd have time for it later.
He's got a lot of half-drunk troublemakers ready to follow him.
Drunks usually make up the major portion of any mob.
You might need the townspeople to back you up. Shall I ring the triangle, Wyatt?
No, don't ring the triangle. I think the best way to handle a lynch mob like this is for me and my deputies to try and reason with them. If I had a mob backing me up, too, it's liable to bring on the fight they're all spoiling for. Cause wholesale slaughter on both sides. Come on. Here they come.
That's far enough.
You're digging your own grave, Wyatt. We want Bill Slocum. Now get out of our way or we'll mow you down.
Duke, you take one more step toward me and I'll kill you.
Go on, Duke. Don't let that Tim Horn bluff you.
If any of you think I'm bluffing, just take one step forward. I got 5 slugs in here and 2 barrels loaded with buckshot to spray both sides of the street. Between them, I don't think I could miss more than half of you. Well, Mr. Delaney, I'm surprised to see you with this irresponsible bunch. Most of them half drunk, all of them just itching to string somebody up. They don't care who or what the reason is. I guess the opinion I once had of you being a fair man was all wrong.
Well, I've been losing a lot of cows lately, Wyatt. And I sure feel any man that's a rustler should be strung up to the highest tree in all of Kansas.
Well, I'm not saying a rustler shouldn't be punished, Mr. Delaney. But why don't you let the law decide what punishment should fit the crime? Let them carry it out.
Law? With a rigged jury, I reckon.
The jury will be made up of cowmen. Now, who'd be better qualified to decide whether a man's a rustler or not than men like yourself?
Then you figure to give Bill a trial? Not let him go loose like Duke here claims?
Bill's going to trial tomorrow afternoon at 1 o'clock. The charge of rustling. Judge Jewett tells me he's planning on having you as foreman of the jury.
Well, maybe he's right. Maybe that's the right way to do it.
Oh, no, he's just trying to grease you up, Jeff.
You lied to me when you said Wyatt figured to let Bill go free.
Yeah, what makes you think he won't?
Because one thing about Wyatt, he don't lie. If he says Bill Slocum's going on trial, and with me, foreman of the jury, well, then that's so. Come on, break it up. What are you hanging around here for? Come on.
Hold it! All you men are carrying guns in violation of a city ordinance. Before you start back to your saloons, you walk ahead of me to Judge Jewett's office and pay your fines. Guns are not to be worn within the city limits of Wichita. In the future, I advise you all to remember that. It'll save you a lot of money. Now get walking. Go on, move! Well, good evening, Bill. I had your dinner, huh?
Yeah, I didn't eat very much. I lost my appetite.
I got word out to your wife. Told her you'd be staying in town tonight on business. Didn't want her to worry about you.
Much obliged. Oh, and thanks, too, Wyatt, for stopping that gang of drunks from pulling me out of here.
Oh, forget it. Now, you're going to stand trial at 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. I think you're innocent, Bill. But thinking's not enough. I got to have proof. Otherwise, that jury just might see fit to bring in a verdict of guilty. You know what that means?
I thought a man had to be proven guilty, not innocent.
Well, that's the usual way. But everyone's a little touchy about losing cattle. They're just liable to let the circumstantial evidence carry enough weight to prove your guilt. You better give me some idea where I can locate most of your herd, and I'll take a ride out there first thing in the morning and have a look-see. Maybe we can figure out something.
Morning, Mr. Earp.
Oh, good morning, Mr. Grimmick.
What are you doing up so early?
Well, I came to get my horse, but my key doesn't work.
Oh, I forgot to tell you. I changed the lock. I'm going to have to give you a new key.
Well, I'm glad you finally told me about it.
Well, you want your horse, huh?
Yeah, I'm going to take a little ride in the country.
Well, this is kind of a funny day to be taking a ride. I heard there's going to be a big time over in town today. What with Bill Slocum standing trial and all.
Yeah, well, I'll be back in plenty of time for that.
Court's in session. Quiet in the courtroom. We have the case against Bill Slocum, accused of rustling. Stand up, Bill. How do you plead, guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty, of course.
You don't need that "the course" in there. Simmer down, Paul. Bill wants to emphasize the fact that he thinks he's innocent. Let him. I don't see the counsel for the defense. Any of you gents know where Wyatt Earp is?
What's Wyatt Earp got to do with the trial, Judge?
He's going to act as defense counsel.
Ain't that a little irregular, Judge?
Well, it would be ordinarily, but Wyatt asked me if he could. I said yes, which makes it regular.
Well, I guess it don't matter much, seeing as how we got enough evidence to hang Bill anyway. Only hope Wyatt ain't as fast with his tongue as he is with his guns.
Now, let's get on with the case. Wyatt will show up at any time. Bill, you better step over here at the stand and give us your side of the story.
Raise your right hand, place your left hand on the Bible. You swear to tell the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Stand.
And you'll never get a cowman to believe that you had that fire burning for any reason but to heat up a running iron.
Like I said, I roped that cow before dawn. I had to wait for it to get light.
What were you doing putting your rope on a Duke cow? She ain't your property.
While I was waiting for it to get light enough to see that Duke brand plane, I started the fire to fix my breakfast.
Why were you so curious about the brand on a Duke cow? To see if you could blot it out some way?
I've been losing a lot of stock lately, both cows and calves, and I thought that cow was mine. I was certain of it.
Excuse me, Your Honor.
In my courtroom, Wyatt?
Oh, nothing will go wrong, I assure you, Your Honor.
Proceed.
Are you trying to say that you think Duke Wilson's been stealing your cows?
I am, and I was trying to prove it.
It ain't bad enough that you rustle from a man, but you got to turn around and accuse him of doing it to you.
I'd like to say a few words to all of you.
I object, Judge. I got the floor here, and I intend to keep it.
Let Wyatt speak his piece. He's gone out and gotten some evidence. Maybe it'll settle this case.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Murdoch, would you give me a hand?
Glad to.
Now, one of the things you cowmen should have taken into consideration before taking for granted that Mr. Slocum here was the rustler was the almost impossible task for Bill to change a brand like Duke, which has got 4 letters in it, into his own brand, the bar D, which has only got 1 letter with a small bar running through it. Now, if for no other reason, I figured Bill was innocent because of this. But now take a look how easy it is to change Bill's bar D brand into the Duke brand, simply by blotting out the small bar that runs through the D on the branding iron and adding the 3 letters U-K-E. Now, if you excuse me, I have a witness I'd like to bring in. Now, whose cow would you say this was?
Well, that's one of Bill Slocum's cows. Got his brand, Bar D.
All right. We know it's Bill's cow. Now, Mr. Delaney, it's pretty easy, isn't it, to tell which calf belongs to which cow?
Easiest thing in the world. If the calf ain't hers, the cow won't have nothing to do with it.
All right, now, if this cow had a calf, what brand would be on the calf?
Ooh, the same brand as the cow, of course.
The Bardee brand, in other words.
Yeah?
Well, now, what if the calf had a different brand than the Bardee?
Well, that'd be rustling, plain and simple.
And Mr. Delaney, how would you identify the rustler?
The rustlers be them that's got their brand on the calf.
Thank you. Mr. Grimmick?
Well, look at that. It's Duke what's the rustler. It ain't Bill Slocum.
You two stay there.
Let us have them two, Wyatt. We'll give them what they figure to give to Bill Slocum. Only we'll give it to 'em proper.
Order. That's a fine way for a jury to behave.
Your Honor, I'll put these two men under arrest.
Good. And I'm dismissing the case against Bill Slocum.
I'd like to say a few more words, if you don't mind.
Go ahead, Wyatt.
Now, you men got to get it through your thick skulls that the days of lynching are over on this frontier. If you continue ignoring the law, you can bet your bottom dollar we'll never get out of the woods at all. Ollie, I want to take him to jail. We got a nice cell and 2 bunks waiting for him.
Order's adjourned.
Just saying thanks doesn't sound like much, but thanks a lot. Gotta be getting on my way. My family will start worrying. See you soon, Wyatt.
See you, Bill.
Come on, baby. Go on. You did a fine job, Wyatt. You saved Bill's life.
Well, I tell you, Mr. Murdoch, you got to kind of give credit where credit's due. Had quite a bit of help from that calf and its mother.
Well, he cleaned up the country, the old Wild West country. He made law and order prevail. And none can deny it, the legend of Wyatt forever will live on the trail.
Oh, Wyatt Earp, Wyatt Earp, brave, courageous, and bold. Long live his fame, and long live his glory, and long may his story be told. Long may his story be told.
ভালোবাসা সুন্দর, ভালোবাসাও সুন্দর। মানুষ নিজের অজান্তেই ভালোবেসে ফেলে।
আমারও মনে হয় কি জানেন, আপনার মতো জানাশোনা কাউকে না আমার বিয়ে করা উচিত।
এটা কি উপলক্ষে?
ম্যাডাম, ফুলটা গ্রহণ করুন, তারপরে বলতেছি।
ভোটার আইডি কার্ডে যার স্বাক্ষরের জায়গায় টিপসই দেয়, এখানে কেউ ডাক্তার।
এই দুইজনের মধ্যে যে আগে ম্যাডামের মন জয় করতে পারবে, ম্যাডাম তার।
একদিন না দেখলে তোমায় বন্ধু আন্ধার লাগে সব, তোমার এই প্রেমে এমনই টান।
রোগীদের তো ডক্টরের কাছে আসলে ব্যথা কমে যায়, আপনি তো উল্টো হলো কেন? আপনি কি উল্টা?
তোমায় ছাড়িয়া যাব মরিয়া, তোমায় ছাড়িয়া যাব মরিয়া, যেও না বন্ধু আমার, ভুলিয়া ভুলিয়া।
আমার মনে হয় আমার সমস্যা কপালে। ম্যাডাম আমার কপালে নেই, আমার কপালে আছে দাগ।
Bây giờ anh bốc lửa được giờ anh hay vậy, anh hay như điên mà chịu thua nhé. Cung à, cung xanh à, đáy máu, đáy máu, đáy máu, đáy máu, đáy máu. Đây đây, không ra thì buồn lắm rồi, buồn lắm em ơi, biết trách anh ơi là đấu lên được rồi. Ôi 18 mẫu 2 sao nữa. Thiếu từ 68 tiền cơ. Mới có 53 tiền. Dạ đủ. Vay nữa không đợi. Vay như hack rồi. Vay khác thì hack đâu. Vay app refine được mà. Asma. Chi hết lava dragon. Cái cục lava phế mà. Thấy vẻ hơn. Bữa nay đánh oan nó còn chết cơ. Thằng thì top 1. Bạn cao top 1 vậy. Thắng top 1 này. Nếu sao thắng thì thằng top 10. Phải thắng không vậy? Bắn nhỉ? Nhanh ghét. Thắng đi. Chưa thắng rồi, gần thắng. Khiếp, phải bắn toàn để chiêu bắn được mà. Đéo có đam. What the hell, 5 phép. Chiều rồi. Toàn 5 phép ạ. Ra gì à? Ra sẽ khó lắp phủ làm mao đấy. Cầu nguyện đi. Thằng cũng không may nghỉ mà. Nhớ hôm nay chắc quan rồi. Là quan nhưng cũng vậy. Thằng yên rồi, phải có sống như vậy. Sống phải ra gì đi. Kéo ra gì thua đấy. Bay đánh thằng rừng đâu. Đánh liệt sĩ vậy. Liệt sĩ của tao vậy. Hay rồi, hay. Xếp mấy nữa là hay. Đấy ơi, Mày. Nếu được rồi, không hay. Không thua. Không thắng.
তোমাকে 15 লাখ টাকাই দিতে হবে। তুমি যদি দিতে না পারো তোমার বাবাকে কল দাও। তোমার যত জমি জিরাত বাড়িতে যা যা আছে এগুলো বেচা হইলেও তোমরা আমাদের টাকা পাই করে শোধ করবা।
একটা ব্যাপার কি খেয়াল করছো? শহরে কিন্তু দুইটা রূপ, রাতের এক রূপ, দিনের আর এক।
বেঁধেছি ঘর হৃদয়ের পর গাঢ় সবুজ ওই গহীন বনে।
আরে ব্রো, সবসময় চিল থাকতে হবে, কিচ্ছু মাথায় নেওয়া যাবে না।
ভালোবাসা হচ্ছে একজন আরেকজনের উপর ভরসা করে, একজন আরেকজনের হাতের উপর হাত রেখে এই জীবনটা কাটিয়ে দেয়। কিছু মানুষ এই রাত জেগে থাকে আর টাকার বিনিময়ে সুখ খোঁজে।
বসুন। এখন তো সিরিয়াস হওয়া উচিত, তাই না? আমি তো কোথাও যাচ্ছি না পার্টি করতে। তুমি কেন যাচ্ছ? কেন বন্ধ করতে পারতেছো না বলো তো? কার যে কোথায় সুখ সেটা তার প্রিয় মানুষটাও কখনো জানতে পারে না।
পাশাপাশি তবু যাচ্ছি বিপরীতে, কাছাকাছি তবু যাচ্ছি বহু দূরে।
হাই, ইউ লুক গুড।
থ্যাংক ইউ।
Quà sinh nhật à? Trai quý nhở? Thua được mà mình thua hàng này mà. May xăm này vậy. người lại về để nó tự di chuyển là thể di chuyển là thể chỉnh hai bên là xong. Bình không vậy, Bình không vậy. Bình không thầy ơi, Bình không thầy ơi, Bình không thầy ơi, Bình không thầy ơi. Ai à, chôn tao. M là nó 50m. Nhanh lên tao. Từ từ rồi. Mắc thêm. 7. Đấy. Chuẩn không nhỉ? Bài sự biết đấy. Đấy là việc. Dậy gì hay à, mảnh rất nhiều mảnh nha, rất nhiều mảnh cung luôn mà. Thôi xin cái mảnh lấy đồ cho oan vậy, thêm cái giáp máu nữa, khiếp cái mấy cái mảnh cũng hết sạch mà. Anh lấy mảnh còn lại. Mày cho nhau, mày cho không? Mày cho anh không? Đừng chết nữa. Thằng Vũ vẫn đang nằm mà Dương. Chết. Đại. Mày không bay nhanh mà nhân kia bây giờ tao quỷ quá. Nhiều đi quát à? Ai à? 200 lap không? 200 lap. 200 lap. 95 à? 195 lap à? Tính là 100 lap đây. Wow. À đúng rồi. Nhầm. Yes. 65.
আপনি কিন্তু দেখতে যথেষ্ট সুন্দরী একজন মানুষ, দেখতে বেশ রোমান্টিক, যেন শেক্সপিয়ারের নাটকের কোনো নায়িকার মতো। ভেবেছিলাম, কিন্তু আপনি তো পুরোটাই মর্মান্তিক। যে কোনো মানুষ আপনাকে দেখে মর্মাহত হতে পারে।
আমার হালকা হতে 1 মাস সময় লেগেছে।
আপনার 1 মাস সময় লাগে? আমার হালকা হতে তো 1 মিনিট লাগে।
আমার কাছে মনে হয় জীবনসঙ্গী এমন হওয়া উচিত যার সাথে আপনি প্রতিটা মুহূর্ত উপভোগ করতে পারবেন, সারাক্ষণ খুনসুটিতে মেতে থাকতে পারবেন, এবং তার মনে এমনভাবে বসবাস করবেন যে আপনার দিকে সে একটাবার তাকালেই বলে দিতে পারবে যে তার বেঁচে থাকার কারণই আপনি।
পথে চলতে চলতে, কথা বলতে বলতে, কখন যেন হলে আমার।
জানি গল্পে গল্পে মিশে অল্পে অল্পে আমিও হয়ে গেছি তোমার।
ছোট ছোট ভুল ফুটে হলো ফুল যে তোমাকে পেলাম।
গুটি গুটি পায়ে স্বপ্নের নাই আমি ভেসে গেলাম।
আপনি কি মনে করেছেন একজন মানুষ আমার জীবন থেকে চলে গিয়েছে এবং আপনি সেই সুযোগটা কাজে লাগিয়ে আপনার ফিলিংস গুলো আমার কাছে এক্সপ্রেস করবেন আর আমি সেটা হ্যাপিলি অ্যাকসেপ্ট করে নিব? এই হচ্ছে আপনার বন্ধুত্বের নমুনা?
রোদের পাখি তোর শহরে আমার মনের স্বপ্ন ঘিরে ওরে পাখি ওরে সারাক্ষণ তোর শহরে বৃষ্টি হলে ভিজে আমার মন
Mày Mày quyết kiểu với thầy tôi biết chuyện sự bình chi liền nhé. Kia na cầm kiếm này. Cái đai máu này. Kia na cầm kiếm này. Rồi. Thằng lấy rồi. Chuẩn không? Chuẩn không? Chuẩn không? Chuẩn không? Tranh mày tranh để tranh với tao. Nhiều đi quá ta. 233 vòng. Mình bắt đầu bây giờ. Em báo á. Mày cũng chưa đi 30% hả? 20% kiếp quỷ à? 100 không? 110 à? Kêu tầm 5. Quá. Để cho thằng bay cho mình. Ai mà lại mày người vào nè rồi chút hiện tại wow một tỷ lắm 50 rồi khoảng là bao nhiêu nhỉ? 2 thì 40 à? 5 thì bỏ 250. Đủ mày được không? Mày ghê 250 muốn năm nay của ông thầy 29 này 12 và 6 17 8 9 5 6 7 8 9 3 5 6 6 3 7 40 à? 40 98 à? 98 này phải bay một phân rồi. What the hell?
দরকার পড়লে একটা রিকশাওয়ালাকে বিয়ে করব, তারপর তোকে বিয়ে করতে।
তুমি যদি মরে যাও আমি তোমাকেই বিয়ে করব।
দেখো বিয়ে এত সোজা না।
5টা কন্ডিশন।
কয়টা?
5টা।
আমি জেডি সাফায়েত রমরাজন স্যার এটা তো ভোটার আইডি কার্ড স্যার।
বাড়িতেই করবেন নাকি হোটেলে?
না আপনি যেমনটা ভাবছেন বিষয়টা তা না। ভাই আপনি তো করবেন না।
তোমাকে দিয়ে হবে না, আমি জানতাম। শুধু সময় নষ্ট করো না।
ভাই আপনি তো অনন্ত দলিল না যে অসম্ভবকে সম্ভব করে আপনার কাজ।
জিমি
কি হচ্ছে?
আচ্ছা
আঙ্গের একদম বইরা দিমু যাচ্ছে সব বাইট কর।
শর্ত দিয়ে বিয়ে
ভাই যে বয়সে মানুষ গার্লফ্রেন্ডের কামড় খায় সে বয়সে আপনি কুত্তার কামড় খেয়ে হাসপাতালে ভর্তি হয়েছেন।
Quỷ thuật. Cái xa kìa, thiếu hiểu. Không bố à? Trôn! Mình thiếu đồ đéo gì nhở? À, thiếu cái nanh. Từ mất và rau thì thiếu đồ. Nanh ngà xua. Chắc hẳn đồ đấy. Để rồi lên xe đã, bình tĩnh. Còn ra chim. Bình tĩnh tự tin và chiến thắng nhé. Sao? Về song long mà. This long has done to me. Bài mình thắng không? Bài yếu đéo gì nhỉ? Bài mình yếu mà bài đó cũng lò không đủ hơn nhỉ? Quên mấy không lắp cây đồ tanh. Chết rồi, con ăn đi chết. Thắng không vậy? Bà sinh viên à? Mày đi. Cái hai cái đồ của mana lâu quá đấy. Thôi. Thổi vang chết. Huyết kiếm mà, chuồn vô. Cũng đau huyết kiếm mà. Mặt trời. 1 tỷ 9 à, 3 tỷ 6. Được rồi. Tôi. Trong si. Quay trên một trời. Được rồi. Đủ nước mắt. Chuyện tôi. Đơn giản rất trẻ Hà Nội. Rồi, chuẩn không? Con lấy mấy con nhiều tiền đã. Mấy này không? Sẵn sàng đổi. Sang không broccoli. Xa đem đi go. Đủ tiền à, tỷ tiền à? Đây còn đừng đâu. Đừng kiểm tra trên bóng tao. Rồi vật chất thấy. Đừng đâu. Nên là cái gì đéo quá. Mày quá trời kéo ghép đủ. Trời. Sao đâu? Thực ra thì cái thằng kia là nhót xuống ấy. Chôn à? Đồ chôn vai. Đấy, lắp này xong nó gãy đồ xong. Mình sẽ thì lắp cái được không nhỉ? Thì không biết được không? Vút. Dấu ra. Nhót chưa? 38 máu chưa nhót. Ui acid xong. Thôi. Khởi công 20. Đấy chơi thằng ngu. Yes sir broccoli ơi. Tôi tăng lượng. Cùng mày. Tao và địa ngục chưa biết một trái có hù game. Đây. Nghe tất cả sau bao đêm. Đây cút. Đâu xem trên người rủ tôi đến. Cút xem. Hai thằng quỷ. Nó dòng mà, nó lắp vào này. Cũng xin đấy thì làm cảnh con dao. Cho con mắt nhà ăn đi. Trên cao. Trên tao trên chào đạp smile. Zone xuống bắn Sierra mất. Nó đỏ. Sierra sấy đéo kịp Zone chứ. Sấy kịp ấy, được cây kìa. Zone chưa phun đồ, do rồng lắp lửa máy giáp mặt chim broccoli. Zone 3 không vị. Zone 3 không vị à? Zone 3 không vị, cần chấm muối không phải broccoli. Mà đánh bóng. Đánh bóng hoài thế không biết. 3 tỷ 9 thôi. Bye bye. Quay. Phong Democratic. Ski. Meow. Bẹp. Đã được 1-2. Em gì trên tổng đàn không cả. Em trong bản và một thứ thì nó không đơn giản. Không cản. Tôi quên không cản. Yes sir. Mình đã quật Ba Đình. Nhưng mà ngay của giấy. nhạc lên là phải căng, là phải trang, bánh ngon là phải chăn, sáng như hải đăng. Đài Loan sẽ sơ buộc đuôi. Chứ, phải trang, tin chứ. Đài Loan, tao chỉ làm tay thôi, nhưng anh bảo là phải phập. Anh không, thì khó lắm. Đây, để quanh hông, nhiều nước. Cút. Ok, được rồi. Ký tạo phát, tên là Đạt, nhà có vừa ngày trên Đà Lạt. Cam Minh Sơn, bỏ luôn tao. Đi ra mắt người ta 30k. Đồng 400. Uầy, ở đinh mạch Azit. Rồi, chuẩn đấy. Trôn bố. Hay, đinh mạch Azit ạ. PC game. Game vẽ. Vẽ điết. Toàn đinh mạch Azit ạ. Anh em bắn thằng kia rồi, không đủ bệnh mạnh rồi, không sao. Ok là sống được thì mới bệnh mạnh được. Để vào. Là đang nhận. Tí chỉ vậy, thằng kề thằng đang hát tiếng câu chúng mày tuổi lờ. Nhít, mày nhẹ chip. Nhít, chip. Vòng cày check xin ra cái. Ok. Kéo qua kéo xin ra. 1 tỷ 7, 31,7 cái kim cương mà đéo đủ. Thread bế ai đây? Chết Woody trước cả để Thread rồi, Thread bế Gario và Juliet rồi xong. Mà Thread 1 thì là thực sự chút nhiều máu đấy. Khỏe đấy. Thắng này. Ui, kia sấy chết hết ạ. Sấy Azit xịt chết hết. Tuyệt là chuẩn đùa. Cho bạn một trang bị tạo tác. Ok, broccoli. Có gì cho xin ra. Báo tố Lurian. Yes sir, cảm ơn. Cái này được, tạm được. MCK. Cho con cờ. Em bước gì ạ? Nhỏ rap 32k. 32k rưỡi ạ. Một lần quay. Pet. Kéo ra, nhiều pet. Cái hai em 5 phút. Thôi bú game ấy, farm này cho biết hai game. Để phát nữa rồi, phải đánh nó này, không, thằng này cũng giống bài vừa đấy, không đi là đi xin với cả đấu sĩ. Và với bài thằng này cũng mạnh bài bằng với không? Mình mạnh hơn nhỉ, trâu hơn. Không, thằng này là bùi quá, nó xì ơi, cái gái. Ui, mình không chết rồi vậy. Thôi thắng. Trồn rất chịu rồi. Thằng kia khỏe hơn nhiều, Cút. Chết thua chào chơi 4 nào. Này cái chết à? Không nào. Chôn bố 96k. Cái lên mà. Tí đô tôi hiểu. Sao thì bớt nhiều quá. Xét một cát ở. Để rồi cho vào check xem mà con này bao nhiêu. 75% rồi. Mấy con này sẽ là những con quay xịt nhất 85%. Đi. Ra nó đẹp. Xét ơi, Azit 2 sự mạnh đấy. Tay mình sự mỏng, tay mỏng đét. Có giảm kháng phép rồi, zone 3 đứng chéo, xin ra sự khó đấy. Chỉ ngồi tán khó tờ thầy đấy. Đây rồi, nó xuống rồi, nó xuống rồi. Sẽ bắt lửa cây, đi luôn không? Đi luôn mà. Rồi xin, thằng này đi rồi. Rồi yếu tiếp. Là tên gì? Đấy. Winho 1412 1999. Quả chớm. 1412 1999 à? Ra vậy bữa vui. Rồi mình sẽ làm cửa. Yes. Đi giống mai chiều